Hey guys, tonight we ditch GPS coordinates and chase stars through the teeth of an Arabian sandstorm. Picture this: your sandals sink into dunes glowing blue under a moonless sky. No streetlights, no road signs, just a billion stars humming above like frozen Morse code. Let's be real. If you tried navigating this desert right now, you'd last 17 minutes before scorpions or stupidity got you. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to see who's watching from places with actual paved roads. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're shivering beside a camel dung fire somewhere in the Rub al Khali, the empty quarter. 5th century Bedouin guides wouldn't even blink. Their maps weren't parchment, they were poems. Rhythmic verses encoding star paths across liquid sand seas. Every line a lifeline. These weren't artsy metaphors about love or war. Screw sonnets. Their stanzas told you where to find water or die trying. Here's a fun fact your history teacher skipped. The Milky Way wasn't just scenery. Bedouin called it Al-Majinin, the madwoman's hair. Legend says she went insane after losing her lover to the dunes. Navigators used her tangled tresses as a seasonal compass, white streaks marking monsoon winds. Quirky bit, some elders swore they could smell approaching rain by tracking Vega's brightness shifts. Scientists still can't explain that one. Survival here demanded more than star charts. It required perfect recall. No paper survives sandstorms, so they weaponized poetry. Each consonant cluster became a celestial marker, vowels stretched like dune shadows, timed to match breath cycles during hour-long recitations. Historians still argue whether these rhythm patterns inspired early Arabic musical scales. Try memorizing 18 directions to the nearest oasis, while a sand viper eyes your ankle. Suddenly rhyming swift gazelle with well beneath the red rock feels urgent. You'd learn to spot Al-Jadi, the goat star, not by its coordinates, but through couplets comparing its gleam to a mother's silver earrings. Every twinkle held layers. A line about lovers' whispers might encode the angle to a hidden spring. The same verse could guide 3 different routes across generations, depending on which syllables you stressed. Mess up the cadence. Congrats. You've just redirected a caravan into a salt flat. Modern archaeologists found something cheeky: 2,000-year-old trading records scratched onto pottery shards. Between inventory lists were star poem fragments. Turns out merchants hid navigation tips in sheep sale receipts. One reads, 30 goats, 12 jars of myrrh, veer left when Scorpio's tail brushes the southern ridge. Bet that client got a loyalty discount. Wanna hear the ultimate desert flex? Some poets encoded warnings in palindrome verses. Recite them backward during sandstorms, and boom, you'd get alternate directions. Clever, until some poor kid mumbled them drunk on fermented camel milk. Legend says that's how the lost city of Ubar vanished, a mispronounced poem redirecting an entire tribe into oblivion. You're itching to ask why poetry? Why not carve stones? Build monuments. 3 words: portability and deniability. Conquerors steal land maps. Nobody loots a shepherd's love ballad. When invaders demanded navigational secrets, elders just crooned mournful odes to departed camels. Meanwhile, those tearjerker lyrics held star paths to rebel camps. GPS can't do that yet. Feel your eyelids getting heavy. Good. That's the Sandman's doing, or maybe the lull of centuries-old verses. Imagine dozing off to rhymes about how Sirius's pulse mirrors a falcon's wings. But stay awake. Tomorrow's lesson involves decoding avalanche warnings in 6th century dessert recipes. Yes, dessert. Turns out baklava layers make excellent metaphors for sediment strata. Sweet. You crouch by a phantom campfire, its heat imaginary, but the lesson real. Desert darkness surrounds you like a velvet curtain pulled back to reveal the sky's luminous stage, those twinkling actors above. They're reciting lines from poems older than your great-great-grandmother's favorite tea set. Listen close. The rhyme scheme isn't just pretty. Each couplet hides latitude and longitude like raisins in bread. That bit about the scorpion's tail brushing dawn. That's code for steering southwest when Sirius winks twice. Nice trick, and safer than scribbling notes that crumble in sandy winds. Your fingers trace constellations in the dust. Ursa Minor, not Ursa Major. Those had different jobs. Hear the rhythm. 7 syllables here, 5 there. It's not haiku. It's how they packed altitudes into verbal breadcrumbs. Memorize the meter wrong, and you'd end up at a mirage's laughable oasis. Now picture this. A 19th century British explorer scribbling in his diary. Bedouin guide stopped caravan to recite poetry at a rock. Madness. Turns out that rock was the Arabian GPS equivalent of turn, left in half a mile. Here's the kicker. Some verses got saucy. A love poem comparing a mistress's eyes to twin stars actually encoded the distance between Venus and Jupiter during monsoon season, flirting with celestial mechanics, literally. You hear a distant clink. Nomads once tied camel bells to specific rhythms. Each jingle-jangle reminded them to check certain star clusters. Lose a bell, and you'd get verses confused, maybe mistake the North Star for its less responsible cousin. Ever choked on a song lyric? Imagine forgetting whether the fox's leap meant 3 days, walk, or 3 hours. Historians still argue whether famous navigator Zayd ibn Malik accidentally swapped Mars for Mercury in his final poem, dooming his rivals' caravans to thirsty circles. Watch your step. This dune conceals a punchline. In 1947, a shepherd found a stone etched with half a verse. Experts spent decades decoding it. Turns out It was ancient graffiti mocking a poet who'd confused east and west. Some jokes never die. Your throat's dry from imagined desert air. But hey, those quick-witted nomads, they'd stash punchy rhymes near water sources. A lilting ditty about palm fronds meant dig here more reliably than any X on a pirate map. Feeling poetic deja vu? That's because star roots repeat like pop song choruses, verses about the moon's silver sandals, all about timing tides of migration. No auto-tune needed, just perfect pitch under pressure. Notice the rock beneath your palm. Its grooves match the melody of a well-finding verse. Sing the right note, and your fingers feel vibrations like the desert humming backup vocals. Skeptics called it nonsense until sonar scans proved wells matched sonic patterns in centuries-old poems. You squint at the horizon, same as those long-ago navigators. Their secret, turning boredom into brilliance. How else to survive endless dunes unless you turned star math into a catchy tune about your mother-in-law's tent placement? Suddenly, verses you've heard intertwine. The rhythm syncs with your heartbeat. That's not meditation, that's survival mode. Miss a syllable, and the Milky Way becomes just sparkly Dacre instead of a highway. A jackal's howl slices the night. Perfect timing. It mirrors the rising note in a poem signaling dawn's approach. Coincidence? The Bedouin didn't think so. They'd mock you for needing an alarm clock when the whole desert's singing, your campfires dying, like star knowledge fading under city lights. But breathe deep. That faint melody on the wind, it's not your imagination. It's the desert whispering, get the rhythm right, or end up in the snack room for sand vipers. The campfire's last ember winks out, leaving you statue, still in star-punched blackness. Those poems, they beat into your skull. Turns out they're Russian nesting dolls of meaning. Peel one layer and find another, then another, till your brain's doing cartwheels in the sand. Take that line about the falcon's shadow stretching west. Surface level, a hunter's lament. Second layer, navigation hint, follow sunset shadows toward Al Raba Oasis. Third tier, a water warning, dug too deep here, and you'll hit bitter aquifers. Miss a stratum, and you'll sip saltwater tears instead of sweet springs. Here's the kicker. They layered these while sounding spontaneous. Imagine freestyling a grocery list that also encrypts your Wi-Fi password and your ex's social security number. Bonus points if it rhymes. Scholars found a 12th century manuscript in a Doha market. Camel hide pages stuffed with what looked like love poetry. Took 50 years to realize the swooning verses mapped trade routes through Qatar's salt flats. Turns out your braided hair meant date palm clusters, and scent of musk flagged sulfur deposits. Ever played that kid's game telephone? Now imagine whispering star coordinates across generations. Mess up one consonant and your grandkid drowns in quicksand. That's why masters made apprentices recite while walking backward or balancing water jugs. Nail the verse mid-distraction. You've earned your sandals. Your foot brushes a stone oval, unremarkable. But sing the hymn of the hollow rock, and it vibrates like a subway grate. True story, Bedouin guides used resonant boulders as cheat sheets. Humming the right pitch made hidden markers hum back, checking your memory without a single scroll. Historians still argue whether these layers were pure pragmatism, or if the poets low-key worshipped the constellations they coded. Would you risk blasphemy by editing a navigation verse? Maybe that's why some rhymes stayed frozen in time, holy and helpful. Laugh at this. Certain verses only worked if you mispronounced them. Deliberate errors signaled danger zones to initiates. Picture a tour guide today going, when I say left, I mean right, with a conspiratorial wink. Except instead of restrooms, you're dodging flash floods. You're sweating now, not from heat, but mental gymnastics. Triple meanings itch behind your eyes like sand grit. Blink and you'll miss how the lover's sigh matches the exact breath count needed to ford a wadi at midnight. That rock you're leaning against, rub it clockwise while reciting. It warms up. Anti-clockwise stays cold. Nobody knows why. But navigators used thermal feedback to verify verses, stone as answer key. Your ears catch a skewed rhythm like a cassette tape warping. That's how masters tested apprentices. Sneak an extra syllable into a well verse. Elders would grunt, try again when your tongue's wiser than a camel's backside. Watch the horizon, you'll see no visual cues. That's the point. The real map's in the cadence, where pauses matter more than words. Wait too long after crimson dunes, and you've accidentally added a desert to your itinerary. Suddenly, the layers interlock, metaphors snapping into coordinates like puzzle pieces. Your shoulders relax. This isn't poetry, it's the original Google Street View, just with more camels and way better campfire stories. A lizard darts past, its path mirroring the serpent's detour verse. Coincidence? Try telling that to the guy who survived a sandstorm by tracking skink footprints. Nature's cheat codes baked into verses for the observant. Your throat starts humming a marching tune, unbidden. Good sign. It means the rhythm's rewriting your muscle memory. Don't fight it. The desert's already composing your next step, one alliterative couplet at a time. The desert's hum fades as true darkness clamps down. Stars now, so dense they look like sugar spilled on vantablack. Your pupils balloon, nature's night vision goggles kicking in. Remember those resonant rocks. Out here, they're useless. The real compass spins overhead, a disco ball for the damned precise. You've heard of Arab astronomers naming stars like Aldebaran. But here's the twist. Bedouin navigators called it Aldebaran, the follower, for how it trails the Pleiades. Why care? Because tracking its lag time revealed seasonal shifts. No sextant required. Early Islamic calendars actually borrowed this oral astronomy, though historians still argue whether prayer timings evolved from these star chants. Your throat's parched, but swallowing wastes moisture. So you chew a pebble like they taught you, stimulating saliva. Bet you didn't know date pits were the original tick-tock fidget toys. Nomads collected them not for planting, but to count steps between verses. Spit one out after 50 paces. Time to pivot northwest where the dunes dip. Look up. The Milky Way's not some Instagram backdrop. It's Alnar, the river curving toward summer grazing grounds. Navigators timed their chance to its rotation, pausing where Orion's bow intersects. Wait, no bow. You've drifted east, corrections baked into rhyme schemes like cosmic autocorrect. Ever seen a shooting star blink twice? Bedouin lore claims they're celestial camels, stumbling gods, freight trains losing cargo. Silly, maybe, but in 1973, raiders used a lunar eclipse's fleeting darkness to bypass radar, proving old myths make decent tactics. You spot Scorpio rising, its tail curled like a whip. Surface meaning. Summer's wrath approaches. Hidden layer. Dig here post-monsoon for fossilized roots, emergency tinder. But wise Antares flickering redder than usual. Cue debates, dust, storm inbound, or just light pollution from Dubai's skyscrapers. That cricket symphony isn't random. Masters mimicked insect rhythms to teach ecliptic paths. Faster chirps meant adjust for shorter winter nights. Miss the tempo. Enjoy getting moonblinded during a wadi crossing. Your shadows gone, moonlight sucked into the void. Perfect. Now recite the song of invisible guides. Feel the verses tighten around your sternum, a metaphysical seatbelt. Legend says stranded traders survived sirocco's by singing into their sleeves, the fabric filtering direction from wind's howl. Fatigue blurs your vision until Sirius blinks Morse code. Not really, but its heliacal rising did signal Nile floods. Bedouin middlemen got rich warning Egyptian farmers, all through coded couplets sold as love spells. Your heel scrapes something coiled, a fossilized sea urchin, quirky proof this was ocean floor once. Navigators used these to recalibrate altars when dunes buried their usual stone markers. How? Line up 3 urchins with Vega, boom, makeshift sundial. The wind shifts, carrying a proverb. Stars whisper, but sand shouts. Translation. If your poem's rhythm clashes with singing sands, you're off route. Adjust or become another cautionary verse. Suddenly, a void opens in the sky. Not a cloud, a dust well where stars vanish. Oral tradition warns these are starving jinn feeding on starlight. Modern take. Micrometeorite showers ionizing the atmosphere. Either way, double-check your rhyme stack. Your left sandal splits, great, but the ode of broken leather kicks in memorized through blisters last summer. Verse 1, patch it with gum Arabic. Verse 2, angle your toes to prevent sinkholes. Verse 3, actually, that's just a recipe for fig paste. Priorities. Dawn's first smear tints the east, rosy fingers clutching the horizon. Your night's work crystallizes. Constellations aren't mapped. They're lived, every rhyme a breadcrumb through infinite black. You don't just navigate stars, you let them script you. Sunrise bleeds across the sky, your shadow stretching into a wavering sundial. That smear of pink isn't just pretty, it's an ancient alarm clock. Time to move before the sand breathes fire. Remember the Milky Way's curve last night. It's flattened now, a highway resetting for winter migrations. Your camel groans like a broken cello. Feed it a thornapple bud, not poison, but a GPS stimulant. Nomads tracked these bitter plants along star paths, their bloom cycles synced with Al-Jadi's zenith. That's your exit cue. Historians confirmed it in 1991. A scroll fragment showed 9th century traders using the goat star to reach Oman's frankincense groves. But here's the weird bit. Bedouin poets encoded detours in love songs. Recite verse 3 too slow. The metaphor flips. Suddenly you're praising a rival tribe's well instead of your wife. Accidental diplomacy via bad rhythm. You kick a stone, it rolls into a spiral pattern. Not random. These happen near fossilized termite mounds, nature's turn signals. Navigators buried ostrich eggs under them as mile markers. Crack one, open millennia later, still reeks. Trust us, don't sniff it. The debate starts at twilight. That constellation shaped like a wobbly chair. Scholars still argue whether it maps a lost oasis or diagrams a camel's gestation cycle. Either way, it's why you're avoiding that dune's pregnant overhang. Your water skin sloshes, a comforting lie. Half empty since yesterday, but the lay of thirsty skies plays in your head, its meter matching the seep rate of buried aquifers. Singing keeps your pace steady, 1 syllable per 7 steps. Spot those beetle tracks, rhinoceros species, carve tiny trenches facing true north. Navigators glued mica, flakes to their shells, makes them twinkle like microstars. Quirky. Sure. Also why the San Diego Zoo's entomology department funds half our expedition. A dust devil spins past, its funnel imitating Orion's nebula. Poets called these skyroots omens of shallow groundwater. Dig here. Maybe. But the rhyme warns of scorpion queens guarding the spot. Your call hydration or venom roulette. 3 vultures circle nope, just plastic bags. Classic mirage. Old-timers wove black goat hair into veils, filtered out fake horizons. Modern hacks. Smear chapstick on sunglasses. Works till it melts. Enjoy waxy eyeballs. That pile of rocks isn't a cairn, it's a poetry bomb. Kick it and run. The clatter reveals your longitude through echo intervals. Miss the cadence. You've overshot the summer pastures by 2 dawns. The wind carves sinuous ridges, each peak matching a star in Ursa Minor. Walk the crests like a tightrope, your weight redistributing with each memorized couplet. Slip and you'll slide into a nursery rhyme about foolish hawk tamers. Your shadow's gone again, solar noon. Time for the silent verse. Lips move without sound, counting heartbeats between Venus's daytime pulses. Fail this, and you'll circle the same dune till dusk. Classic rookie error. A cracked amphora protrudes from the sand, Roman maybe. Stargazers stored scrolls in these libraries gone nomadic. Break it open and risk curses. Or leave it, let the dunes reclaim their bookmark. Nightfall creeps in, stars reboot the sky's operating system. Al-Jadi twinkles, its hooves aimed at a wadi where time grows wild. The rhyme claims its scent, masks camel musk from gin. Science says it repels scorpions. Both, your campfire sparks mimic Cassiopeia. Coincidence? Navigators drilled fire starting into ritual, each flame pattern a backup star map. Let it die, and you're navigating via iPhone flashlight. Good luck with that. The debate resurfaces with the moon. Those pockmarks. Poets called them wells of forgotten songs. Astronauts say microwaved regolith. You just hope they're not lunar spiders. Sleep tight. Dawn again, same rose-tinted claw. But the Milky Way's bend has shifted. A cosmic elbow nudging you toward monsoon lands. Your mantra mutates accordingly, vowels elongated for humidity. Every syllable's a stepping stone across the sky. Moonlight lacquers the dunes silver, your breath sinking with the desert's shallow inhale. That flicker ahead isn't a campfire, it's your teacher's lantern swinging like a drunk pendulum. Catch up, or spend the night deciphering owl hoots as guideposts. The old man's voice rasps a verse about 7 sisters dancing, Pleiades hovering to your left. His sandals scuff deliberate patterns, each groove matching a star's arc. Stray from his path, and the rhyme crumbles, leaving you tracing figure eights in the dark. Remember the Roman sundial joke. Bedouin masters were crueler. Fail a recitation, and they'd spin you blindfolded, then demand you name constellations by the teeth marks in your date ration. Historians found gnawed seeds in a 12th century Baghdad dump proof this stellar hazing lasted centuries. Your turn. Recite the ode of shifting sands, but backwards. The syllables twist your tongue, a phonetic obstacle course. Hesitate on quivering dunes, clandestine blush and boom. Your mind maps a mirage lake instead of the next waypoint. The master snorts, his disapproval smells like fermented camel milk. Here's the kicker. Apprenticeship wasn't voluntary. Tribal law forced third-born children into astronomy boot camps. Resistors got buried to their necks during meteor showers, enlightenment through urgency. A 1980s dig near Petra unearthed adolescent skeletons with cocked heads, still stargazing through hollow eye sockets. Spot the cairns stacked like unstable Jenga. Kick it, the stones clatter a rhythmic code. Answer correctly, and it reveals the spring hidden beneath scorpion nests. Flub the response and scuttle sideways. The vibration lures camel spiders from their burrows. Silence stretches a dangerous sign. The master halts, ears twitching at Orion's belt. There, 3 quick clicks of tongue against teeth. Copy him or face the test of parallels. Your attempt sounds like a broken Geiger counter. He sighs, prepare for tonight's punishment. navigating via Jupiter's moons without poetry. But wait, what's that rustle in your satchel? A cheat sheet? Nice try. Elders booby-trapped scrolls with hallucinogenic ink. Unroll it and inhale. Suddenly, the Big Dipper morphs into a laughing hyena. Better to memorize the verse properly, even if your brain feels like overcooked couscous. Dawn approaches. The master's silhouette becomes a stuttering film reel. Your final exam. Walk west, chanting the Scorpion's lament, while balancing a water jug on your head. Spill a drop, and the next line shifts, sending you toward cliffs instead of grazing lands. Scholars still bicker over why apprentices wore copper toe rings. Was it to ground lightning during storms, or just Bedouin bling? Meanwhile, you're stuck wiggling numb feet. The metals pinch a relentless metronome for your recitations. The master halts his staff jabs at a wobbling star. Correctly, ID its Arabic name, and he'll divulge the Well of Whispers location. Mistake it for Venus, and he'll leave you strand jokes on him. You've GPS tagged his robe. Your knees buckle, sleep deprivation turns the Milky Way into a tangled loom. The master barks a lullaby version of the star poems. Suddenly, the lyrics make sense. Navigation isn't about perfection. It's about surviving the gaps between verses. He nods toward a scarab beetle, dragging its dinner uphill. Observe, its path mirrors Cassiopeia's curve. Ancient navigators glued constellation, maps to insect shells, living compasses wandering the dunes. Modern entomologists call this unverified. But why do museum specimens still align north? Final challenge. Cross this sinkhole using only the bridge of size ode. Each step must match the poem's stressed syllables, stumble. And the sand swallows your leg like quicksand fondue. The master yawns, his indifference more unnerving than the pit. Moonrise, your initiation nears completion. The old man presses a clay token into your palm, its grooves encoding tonight's stellar map. Lick it and taste salt from a Dead Sea, centuries of saliva, transplanting knowledge tongue to tongue. He vanishes, typical guru exit. But his last rhyme still hums in your molars. Follow its vibration to a buried flask of gazelle milk soured into proto-yogurt. Your reward, or a probiotic prank, Bedouin humor remains encrypted. The dunes whisper tonight's lesson. Every misstep etches deeper than perfect recitation. Tomorrow, you'll grate your voice, raw teaching toddlers star rhymes, their sticky fingers smearing sacred verses into the sand. Circle of life with extra sunscreen. Your shadow stretches, a warped sundial once more. Somewhere, the master chuckles into his beard. You'll mirror that cackle in 40 years, assuming the Scorpion queens grant you tenure. Your shadow stretches, a warped sundial once more. Somewhere, the master chuckles into his beard. You'll mirror that cackle in 40 years, assuming the Scorpion queens grant you tenure. Autumn equinox air rasps against your cheeks, the desert's breath turning metallic. That's your cue. Unfurl the goatskin scroll, its verses now squirming like heat waves. Summer odes crisp at the edges, ready to molt into fall's labyrinthine stanzas. The rhyme scheme shifts tonight, each couplet bending like date palms in wind. Where summer poems marched like camels in caravan, autumn verses slither, sidewinder tracks across vellum. Your finger traces ink that stains darker at specific syllables, pressure points marking Saturn's opposition. Spot the scarab shell nailed to your tent flap. Crack it open, ancient star charts coil inside. 3rd century traders used these beetle capsules to smuggle equinox updates past Roman tax collectors. Modern museums display them as ritual objects, missing the tax evasion hustle entirely. Recite the hymn of tilting skies, but alter every 4th word to match the scorpion's tail star. Hesitate, and the rhythm warps. Suddenly, you're chanting bakery prices instead of zenith markers. The master materializes, drinking from a water skin that reeks of fermented palm sap. Faster, he grunts. Seasons wait for no poet. Here's the catch: autumn verses smell different. Inhale deep, burnt almond, undertones signal Venus's retreat. Winter odes will carry musk of frozen lichen. Your nose twitches, a sneeze dismantles the meter. The master flicks a pebble at your knee, his version of punctuation. Scholars still argue whether the whispering solstice was celestial event or collective hallucination. Scrolls mention tribes hearing stars hiss like serpents every 21 December. But try finding that in NASA databases. Your turn. Improvise a couplet using only words containing ein gutturals, the back of throat consonants that mimic sandstorms. Fail and endure the remedy, gargling crushed peppercorns until your uvula glows. Succeed and win another scroll. Bedouin rewards loop like our Ouroboros. Notice the master's robe. Its embroidery pulses, constellations stitched with thread dipped in glowworm juice. Each equinox, specific stars luminesce, a cheat sheet for dense apprentices. You squint Orion's buckle winks mockingly. The goats grow restless. Their bleats sync with descending Sirius, tonight's melody hidden in animal noise. 3rd century herders composed verses around livestock calls, moonlight lullabies, doubling as navigation alerts. Your attempt at mimicking the kid goats earns a snort. Apparently you sound like a lovesick hyena. Dew forms cryptic scripts on sandstone transient glyphs listing pre-dawn waypoints. Memorize them before the sun licks the words away. Too slow, the master erases 3 with his big toe. Nature's pop quiz. He gloats, the man's a menace with calligraphy. That rock cairn isn't a marker, it's a seasonal battery. Stacked during spring rains, its quartz veins hum at equinoxes. Press your ear to it. The vibration translates to a forgotten odes chorus. Archaeologists dismiss these as random resonance. Then, why do Bedouins still harvest the tones for new navigation rhymes? Your tongue stumbles over the ode of shrinking shadows, its meter tight as a camel skin drum. The master grabs your wrist mid-verse. 3 days early, he mutters. Poems must align with Mercury's current retrograde, not whatever your caffeine-addled brain recalls. Flip the hourglass. Recite until the sand remembers your voice. Each grain once tumbled down a dune, named in song, ancestral echoes trapped in silica. The master nods approvingly, his beard sparkles, with rogue granules keeping tempo. Dawn leaks across the horizon, a slow knife through night's belly. Your final test. Whistle the Pleiades' autumn melody while jogging backward. Miss a note and face the chiding flute. Its pitch attracts particularly bitey beetles. The master's silhouette blurs into the rising sun, another exit via dramatic backlighting. His parting haiku lodges in your molars. 3 syllables shift, / dunes relearn their moonlit names. Spit out the verse. You'll find the meaning come winter, probably while frostbitten, and cursing his name. For now, the Scorpion's underfoot trace, Virgo's outline, their stinger taps spelling out tomorrow's lesson in Morse code. Ignore the venom. It's just the desert's way of punctuating progress. The scorpions scatter their coated stings, still prickling your ankles. Your boot heel scrapes sandstone, revealing ochre graffiti older than Mecca. 3rd century tribes painted aquifer maps as love poems. An early prenup ensuring survival over romance. That squiggle resembling a wilted iris. Actually groundwater depth markers, 3 palm lengths down to drinkable reserves. Breeze carries a verse fragment. The viper's bride wears frost for lace. Newbies mistake it for myth until they stumble upon pre-dawn ice, clinging to specific dunes. Harvest that moisture before sunrise, or join the cactus choir croaking for mercy. Your water skin bulges with yesterday's haul tastes like metal and smugness. Spot the cairn crowned with fox bones. Archaeologists cataloged it as a tomb. Missed the poetry etched between ribs. Lick the marrow groove, minerals react with saliva. Humming a rhyme about monsoon paths, scholars still argue whether 7th century nomads truly engineered edible maps or just had bizarre snacking habits. A torn tent flap flaps, Morse code mocking your progress. Its rhythm recalls the ballad of shifting wells, each stanza a palindrome, redirecting to secret springs. Modern engineers recreated the cadence in water divination apps. Sahara Tuner 2 has 2 stars on the App Store. Your thumbnail digs a furrow in the sand, automatically tracing the layered lament of arid wives. 3rd century widows encoded oasis locations in mourning songs, veiling geography as grief. Sing the verse backwards. Suddenly, you're reciting profit margins for frankincense caravans. Poetry here multitasks harder than a camel with 6 humps. That beetle circling your left foot isn't lost, it's critiquing your footwork. Step into the anthem of leaning shadows, a jig aligning your shadow with hidden petroglyphs. Misstep and you're moonwalking into a sinkhole. The beetle flies off, likely to report your incompetence to higher ups. Unwrap the linen bundle, sweating in your satchel. A 1940s British hydrologist's diary. pilfered from some library's fiction section, his sketches of Bedouin songs as aquifer blueprints got him branded a lunatic, until satellites confirmed 17 underground rivers matching his sheet music. Chew this resin nugget, a poet's ancient breath mint. Its bitterness unlocks nasal membranes. Suddenly, you smell impending sandstorms as B-flat minor chords. The master swore this let him taste tomorrow's wind direction. You're mostly getting hints of expired cough syrup. Scrape rust from your dagger. The blade's pitting forms zodiac sigils when held to moonlight. 10th century blacksmiths hammered stellar alignments into steel, each perideflect sequence, secretly charting Polaris's drift. Fencing instructors today still unknowingly teach pre-colonial astronomy. Guard meets equinox. Dig here where the dirt smells suspiciously like grammar. Buried clay tablets list verb conjugations, each tense keyed to seasonal water tables. Future perfect tense, 15 paces east to a seepage spring. Flunk this pop quiz, and the desert conjugates you third person singular, past tense. Spot the vulture circling counterclockwise. That's no scavenger. It's reciting the ode to sun-rotting meat. Its spiral flight path traces the ecliptic avian slam poetry marking Venus's apogee. Throw a fistful of gravel. The staccato impacts echo a rhyme about limestone filters. Even carrion birds here have better lyricism than sound cloud rappers. Dust devils twirl like dervishes their cores, whisper the canticle of hollow dunes. Certain whirlwinds carry hallucinogenic spores, inhale deep and see aquifers glowing like neon veins. Ethnobotanists dismiss this as dehydration hallucination. Then, why can believers consistently locate wells blindfolded? Your shadow has doubled, a rare celestial pun. The sun kisses Mercury's orbit, stretching your silhouette into a limerick's meter. Walk the stanza's iambic path, each footstep cracking open-capped aquifers beneath. Stumble, and you're fertilizing a Saxol shrub's stand-up routine. Moonrise unveils the canyon of whispering expenses, where every rockfall sounds like haggling. 8th century traders struck peace treaties here, their terms encoded in haggling chants. A line about wrinkled dates actually barred raiding during aquifer recharge cycles. Economic sanctions, Bedouin style. The master's voice snakes from a lizard burrow, recite the ballad of scorpion skins, hesitate and he'll emerge, reeking of pickled vigilance. Each verse shed old exoskeletons, metaphors for updating water tables post-earthquake. Modern geologists still use 15% of those formulas, with better safety goggles, worse poetry. Dawn arrives wearing yesterday's heat, its glare erasing Starlink satellites. Your night's work lingers in the dirt, a sonnet scrawled with a scorpion's tail. Let the wind edit it. Sirocco drafts are ruthless critics. By noon, your magnum opus becomes a haiku. By dusk, a single word, dig. Moon-washed wool scrapes your palms, you've unearthed a textile bundle resisting decay. Unfurl its threads and find rhythmic knots, not decoration, but lunar mnemonics. These are Aisha al-Badawiya's loom songs. 12th century matriarchs wove star cycles into tent fabric. Each cross-stitch marked the moon's wobble, crucial for recalibrating desert odes after eclipses. Your blistered thumb traces a zigzag pattern, suddenly humming a dirge about last quarter safety protocols. That reek of rancid sheep fat. It's deliberate, lanolin preserved threads against mildew and invading armies. Bedouin weavers buried entire libraries in goat hair rugs. Ottoman tax collectors never noticed constellations underfoot. Pass a hand over the weave, raised threads puckering like braille. Spin it clockwise, and the pattern becomes a shopping list. 9th century camel fodder prices and Venus's orbital eccentricity. Historians still argue whether the inflation rate influenced star map accuracy. Crouch where the dune cups shadow like a beggar's palm. Here's where the sisters gathered. Under pretense of mending robes, they drilled girls on eclipse response verses. Miss a syllable, and your spindle gets accidentally thrown into a hyena den. A 1940s ethnographer's diary mentions textile screams, claims certain looms shrieked when threaded incorrectly. Preservationists found quartz filaments vibrating at star chart frequencies. Turns out demon-possessed quilts were just outdated GPS devices. Peel apart moth-eaten layers. A child's practice sampler falls out. Crimson threads form clumsy asterisms. Aljaz's shoulders misaligned by 2 finger widths. Margins scrawled with charcoal. Aunt says my stars smell like burnt bread. Flip it the reverse perfect. Generations hid flawless maps beneath apparent errors, a safety measure against poetic plagiarism. Modern AI pattern recognition struggles to parse these flaws, meaning a 12-year-old's prank outsmarts machine learning. That guttural crooning from the northern ridge, not whined, great-grandmother Zara's ghost auditing your progress. Legend says she memorized 72 lunar anomaly ballads, 1 for each vein in her left hand. Check your water skin, condensation, frosts in time with her vibrato. Spill a drop, and she'll materialize, demanding you conjugate camel milking verbs in iambic pentameter. Uncover a bone needle jammed into the ground compass prototype, or menstrual cramp tool. Both. 9th century midwives encoded emergency routes into Obgyn chants. Postpartum bleeding ballads doubled as wellspring coordinates. A line about crimson dunes drying too slow actually warned of tainted aquifers. Male navigators avoided these verses. Taboo made them the best preserved corpus, like the spindle's rusted end, tastes like menarchal rituals and oxidization. Iron deposits here match the hemoglobin levels of monarchy celebrants. Poetesses calibrated their looms using menstrual cycle math. UNESCO once tried censoring this fact as biologically implausible, until carbon-dated sanitary pads proved circadian poetry alignment. Your elbow knocks over a ceramic dye pot. Sludge oozes indigo and unintended confession. Beneath the gloop, a tablet ranking poetesses by water-finding accuracy. Norbint Tariq tops the list, 89 verified digs, 12 excommunicated suitors. Runner-up, Kaltham's footnote. New 17 words for mirage, none for surrender. Spot the beetle dragging a thread skyward. It's rebuilding the tapestry of scorched throats, a collaborative textile mapping 3 generations of droughts. Each knot represents a child taught star rhymes during famine. Miss a stitch, and the pattern suggests cannibalism protocols, veiled as recipes for bitter roots. A sand-flecked papyrus shred clings to your calf, birth poem for twins separated by dunes. Each stanza forks, left channel verses guide one sibling, right channel the other. Sing both harmonies and hear groundwater burbling counterpoint. Musicologists call this the earliest known surround sound system. Hydration meets hi-fi. Dig deeper, your fingernail splits on a ceramic shard, glazed with asterisks. It's a domestic theft record, a wife suing her husband for plagiarizing her moon phase quatrains. Court transcripts show she won damages in camels, calculated using a formula involving Mars's retrograde. The wind shifts, it's taunting you with the nursery rhyme of weaning. Each verse weaves astrophysics into child-rearing. When Al-Kabek's eye blinks thrice, switch from breast milk to camel milk. Pediatric anthropologists found tribes using this system had 23% fewer infant dehydration deaths. Try explaining that to a La Lech League meeting. Moonlight now stripes the sand like a prison uniform, your cue to stop. Bundle the textiles carefully. Their weight mirrors the Vela supernova remnants, 1968 radio emissions. Walk northwest, chanting the hymn of unspooled distances. Each step unravels a generation's guarded knowledge. By dawn, you'll have knitted a new constellation or died frothing from loom lice bites. Fair trade. Your souls sink deeper where the sand cools, nights claiming the dunes as its own. Orion looms ahead, 3 studs on a slate belt. But forget Greek heroes. Bedouin herders saw utter Al-Murzem, the celestial goat that dried up each dry season. Those stars didn't tell stories. They pulsed with uterine contractions. Memorize their tilt, and you'd know when to check pregnant camels. 7 degrees west meant birthing within 5 nights. That burning smell. Not another scrub fire. Bedouins still roast gaff seeds using star-heated stones. Drop one in your mouth and taste camel milk caramel, sweetness masking medicinal urgency. Each sugary crunch reminds you mythic tailies were triage labels. But where scorpions sting verses, actually marked zones prone to venomous Palestinian vipers. You stumble over a half-buried amphora, its neck crusted with ancient resin. Inside lies a Ptolemy-approved star chart, repurposed as a honey jar. Fatigued bees still cluster around Sirius's position, their hum syncing with the dog star's scintillation. Scholars praise this as early cross-disciplinary collaboration. You call it sticky pragmatism. Kneel where the snickering jackals circled last week. Scatter date pits, and they'll form Althuria's asterism, their yips timing lunar eclipses. Bedouin teens still play this constellation game at weddings. Losers get drenched in fermented goat milk. Historians still argue whether jackal-guided navigation preceded human astronomy. A cramp twists your gut right on schedule with the Pleiades zenith. Coincidence? Unlikely. Dig out that embroidered gut flask. 3 sips activate meteor shower mnemonics. The bitter aftertaste, dried mallow root, prevents mirage-induced hallucinations during Ursha's high summer dance. Spot the cracked ostrich egg balanced on a thorn bush. It's no art project, rotated to align with Vega's glow. Peer through the fissure. Starlight filters into a desert pantry inventory. Goat cheese quantities, water reserves, and salt slabs counted via celestial refraction. One elder's memoir claims Cleopatra herself commissioned these sky abacuses, but her accountants probably preferred papyrus. Your toe nudges a stone etched with crude arrows, trade route graffiti. Follow them southeast, and you'll hit a well that tastes of quince. Divert northwest and find a merchant's, packed carved during the 1022 Leon meteor strike. Rub the charred edge, ash sticks like powdered obsidian. Inhale deeply, centuries-old panic still perfumes the air. That gurgle beneath your feet isn't groundwater. It's a collapsed poetry vault. Press your ear to the ground. Muffled verses bubble up about Mars's retrograde and mutton prices. Archaeologists once dismissed these as bards' tax records until correlating them with drought cycles. Turns out ode to a greedy lamb predicted locust swarms 8 lunar months away. Pluck a brittle acacia branch, its thorns arranged in Ursa Minor's formation. Snap one off, and sap oozes purple, a child's practice ink for tattooing star maps on palms. Modern dermatologists identified the dye as acacia niloticus latex mixed with crushed onyx, safe for skin, but lethal if ingested. A sand hare darts past, its ears twitching in Caus Media's rhythm. Miscatching it, and you forfeit a water ration, less a game than stealth hydration training. Legend says the Milky Way was charted by a 5-year-old trailing a jackrabbit, her snack pouch filled with navigational mnemonics. The horizon blurs, not heat haze, but a caravan of French hydrologists. Their GPS units flicker as you pass. Alcade's electromagnetic pulse still disrupts modern tech here. Offer them a water skin they'll decline, unaware its ceramic filter encodes underground river paths. Watch them trudge toward illusory lakes, your great-grandmother's laughter carried on the chamal wind. Pry open a rusted ammo case left behind during the Sanusi revolt. Instead of bullets, date palm scrolls mapping Venusian phases to Ottoman tax seasons. A marginal note curses Italian interlopers who can't tell Rigel from a rifle sight. The curator who discovered this in 1991 quit academia to become an astrologer, claims the ink induced prophetic dreams. Your shadow stretches 2 meters northwest, time to mimic the hyena's howl posture. Arch your back, palms flat on cooled sand. This stance once calibrated circumpolar star sightlines. Modern chiropractors would shudder, but your vertebrae pop in grateful Arabic. A cicada shell crunches underfoot, its hollow abdomen a perfect replica of Mercury's orbital path. Pocket it, and you'll barter for extra bread at dawn. Collectors pay dearly for cosmic taxidermy. Just don't mention the 1974 incident when a Sicilian smuggler mistook Jupiter's moons for cricket eggs. The wind abruptly dies, your cue to recite the hymn of static skies. Each guttural syllable lowers the atmospheric pressure, preventing sudden sand geysers. Your throat burns like a degree mirage, an acceptable trade for not being stratified across dunes. Dawn's first bruise purples the east, your lips chap from whispered stanzas. By noon, ultraviolet rays will dissolve these verses, but the camels will remember. Their amniotic sacs still bear star maps no human voice could replicate. The Milky Way's fade leaves your ears ringing, its vacuum filled by dawn's first thermal gust. You lick cracked lips, tasting 3 directions at once. That hot eastern draft, not mere whether Bedouin poets called it Al-Haraz, the watchdog wind. Follow its path, and you'll find wadi channels before sunrise. Ignore it, and your shadow gets swallowed by mirages named the desert's false uncles. Your heel scrapes a stone bowl, crusty, with ibex fat residue. Rub it clockwise and feel grooves pointing 8 compass winds. Each ridge flares at different hours, microbial growth, thriving where the night breeze hits hardest. Archaeologists found 12 near Petra's treasury, still secreting century-old mutton enzymes. One curator licked a sample in 1987, claims it cured his lactose intolerance. Ravens circle ahead, not for carrion, but geomagnetic shifts. Watch their spiral tighten where Venus pierces the horizon. Bedouin odes nicknamed these birds sky scribes, their dive patterns updating poetry with real-time detours. Modern meteorologists confirm ravens pivot 90 degrees before sandstorms, 90 seconds faster than radar alerts. That crunching underfoot isn't gravel, it's a fossilized beetle carapace. Flip it, its abdomen etched with microscopic hatch marks, matching trade winds' lunar cycles. Your grandmother's generation called them Rosetta Stones of the Sirocco. Lost pilgrims allegedly brewed them into tea, GPS, in liquid form. The hallucinations, a feature, not a bug. 8 strides north, a shrub rustles without breeze. Part the branches. A black scorpion taps its stinger against basalt. Count the knocks. 7 fast, 3 slow. Translated through the dance of the pincer's verse, and you've got a 15-kilometer dew forecast. Diplomats used this during the 1975 Sinai negotiations, scheduling truce, talks around water-gathering windows. Spot the gazelle herd grazing sideways. Their chewing aligns with Al-Yasar, the midday western gust. Memorize the alpha female's head tilts. Each jerk corresponds to a poetic caesura, marking rock cairns. One particularly dramatic toss means half-day's walk to sulfur springs. Historians still argue whether gazelle-guided caravans outpaced star-only navigators. A lizard darts up your sleeve, its cold belly spelling out pressure shifts. 7 rapid pulses mean prepare for haboobs. 16 mean a rare winter drizzle. Peel it off gently, its tail sheds into a perfumed reed. Light the tip, and smoke curls into today's humidity percentage. Greek fire this ain't, but it saved an Ottoman spice convoy from mirage madness in 1693. Your water skin sloshes Morse code, listen close. 3 splashes leftwards mean birch bark sediment, potable. 5 to the right signal algal bloom death in a canteen. Early Islamic medical texts cite these rhythms, attributing them to jinns whispering in goatskin. Modern chemists found vibrational patterns altering water's pH, still baffled by the mechanism. Kneel where shadow meets a tumbleweed. It's no accident. This intersection holds the rukba, an ankle-width trench, capturing dawn's first slant. Measure its temperature differential with your palm. 9 degrees means follow the ant trails. 5 degrees demands camel hair compasses from your hip pouch. In 2008, a Swiss engineer patented this technique, failed to credit 9th century Bedouin teens. That shimmering to the southeast, not heat haze, a million spider silk strands vibrating at navigational frequencies. Walk through, and filaments stick to your robes. Each strand's tension reveals dune solidity. Folk tailies warn, these are jinn's lullabies frozen in midair. You're just glad they're not the screaming silk from winter lore. The wind picks up, scattering juniper seeds in formation. Catch 7, and they'll form Ursa Minor on your palm. 8. A rare lunar eclipse warning, buried in the nursery rhyme O Breeze, my nurse. Miss every seed, and you've triggered a timeout ritual. Sit facing Mecca until the wind spits them back. A dendrite-like crack in the earth snakes westward. Follow its fractal splits. Each fork encodes a sand. Vipers strike range. Bark a line from the coiled guide poem. The crack echoes back via capillary action. Ultrasounds conducted here in 2016 showed subterranean aquifers mimicking the same verse down to the guttural pauses. Your breath fogs unexpectedly, a chill microclimate ahead. 20 steps downslope lies a bat cave dripping with navigational mold. Scrape a fingernail across the growth. pH-sensitive streaks glow like const the mold streaks bright orange, its bioluminescence spelling tonight's escape route. Taste the bitter residue. It's not fungus, but crystallized camel saliva. Bedouin rescue verses work here, their guttural consonants vibrating the cave walls. Hum the throat of the drowned well and watch stalactites tremble, revealing a sandstone slit. Squeeze through, your robes tear on inscriptions warning of sand that breathes. Outside, the horizon's vanished. A haboob devours the sky, its leading edge hissing like 1,000 angry teapots. This isn't ordinary grit. It's charged with static that rewires inner ears. Navigational north feels south. Your left foot insists down is up. Cue the emergency protocol, the Cassida Algoth, a 12-line scream disguised as a love poem. Recite the third couplet through your headscarf, the one comparing storm fronts to a jilted bride. Feel the rhymes click against your molars. That's not a cavity. It's the rhythm unlocking proprioception. Suddenly, your big toe knows true west. Follow it toward a half-buried menhir, its surface pitted by ancient chisels. Touch the grooves, they're not random. Each dent corresponds to pressure points in your palms. Press index finger here, thumb there, and your knees twitch nor-northwest. It's like your skeletons become a compass needle. Cleopatra's scouts allegedly used these during her 34 BCE flight from Actium, minus the bone conduction trick. The storm vomits a donkey skeleton mid-fall. Catch a rib before it buries itself. The curvature maps tonight's detour. Align it with Orion's belt, invisible but memorized. Rotate until marrow channels sing D-flat. Walk that note's vibration, 7 paces per staccato breath. Your shins hit buried granite, fossilized coral from when sand was seabed. Scrape moss off the stone, it's fluorescent green despite the drought. Lick it emergency hydration, plus a GPS cheat code. Your tongue buzzes with Neolithic petroglyphs. Swallow the aftertaste. Now your clenched fists mirror dune undulations. A 1994 dig near Riyadh found similar lichen, still glowing inside a sealed amphora. The archaeologist who tasted it won the Dubai Marathon, sweating neon for 3 days. Lightning cracks overhead, but it's sand lightning. Blue forks connect Earth to storm, each flash a snapshot of safe zones. Blink during the third streak, retinal afterimages form a dotted path. Follow before the next discharge fries your eyelashes. Bedouin apothecaries sold thunder blink training, infants staring at welding torches. A severed palm frond slaps your shin. Its leaflets form prime numbers. Pluck them in Fibonacci sequence. The remaining veins outline canyon switchbacks. Tuck number 5 behind your ear. It'll repel scorpions via ultrasonic rustling. Bonus: the scent confuses vultures. A 12th century Seljuk commander used these as tactical maps, conquering 8 forts before realizing they were picnic leftovers. Your shadow reappears, stretching into the wind instead of away. It's reciting the Bone Mile poem through jerky gestures. Match its arm angles to decode mirage distortions. That awkward elbow bend signifies a sandstone chambered 20 paces ahead. The shadow's foot tremor, warning of sinkholes disguised as wildflower patches. Dig where its head meets a dune's crest. Unearth a salt-encrusted amphora. Inside, not water, a dried squid carcass covered in cuneiform. Unroll it. The tentacle sucker cups map zodiacal dates. Align the siphon with canopus. It points to a shale deposit rich in night-blooming algae. Squeeze the ink sac. It writes directions in temporary tattoos. Just don't let historians near it. They still debate whether Bedouin kitchens invented calamari or just repurposed sea monster warnings. The storm dies mid-roar, silence so thick you hear quartz granules settling. Your emergency poem's final verse hangs visible breath crystallized into hovering hieroglyphs. Walk through them. Each shattered syllable corrects your inner ear's tilt. By the last glyph, you're facing the faint glow of a shepherd's fire, 3 hills away or 30. Either way, your hips sway to the Cassida's closing meter. Each pelvic tilt counters the desert's residual sway. You're not walking. You're a rhyming couplet in motion, every footfall scanning for the next stressed syllable. Just pray you don't end up in enjambment. The shepherd's fire guts out as you approach, embers dying mid-flicker like disapproving stares. No tents, no goats, just 3 blackened stones arranged in a code any nomad kid deciphers before learning cursive. Circle clockwise, the Bedouin GPS reboot ritual. Your left boot scuffs a charred resin chunk, frankincense ashes from the incense route caravans. 2,000 years dead, still prickling your sinuses with failed bargains. A whisper snakes through your right sleeve, the goth poem's refrain looping like a stuck chant. Your tongue moves without consent, reciting couplets that taste of burnt honey. Mid-verse, your front teeth buzz, Morse code signals from molars. 3 short vibrations mean duck. Barely in time, a date pit missile whizzes overhead. The thrower, a 12-year-old shepherd girl perched on a ruined watchtower. Recite the drought verse. She demands, slingshot reloaded with ancient Roman coins. You flub line 4, mixing up parched wells and widow's blisters. Her groan echoes. She's heard worse, maybe from her great-great-grandmother during the 1940s oil explorations. The punishment, singing the corrective stanza while balancing a jerboa skull on your head. Get it right, and she'll spit a walnut containing your next coordinates. Historians still argue whether these walnut maps were practical tools or just elder-designed pranks. A sand-bleached flag flaps atop the tower. Its stains form zodiac symbols. Touch the Pisces smudge. It's lamb blood from Eid sacrifices past. Your fingertip now tingles northward toward a cairn of camel vertebrae. Each bone's engraved with star arc angles. Stack them like a spine. The gaps create a flute. Blow. It plays the exact pitch to summon a dust devil waypoint. The mini tornado arrives with reservations. It's overbooked with lost scarab beetles. Pocket 3 for later. Their leg scratches translate to tide tables. Catch the main act. The The twister disgorges an Ottoman-era sextant covered in, is that hedgehog fat? The quirky part. Desert astronomers once greased instruments with Erinaceous auritus oil, believing their spines pointed toward Venus. Mid-chortle, your uvula spasms, the poem's climax demanding vocal commitment. You bleat the final verse through a mouthful of sand. Wrong move. The cairn reassembles into a spiteful scorpion. Its stinger drips umber liquid, dried poet's blood from some 8th century hack who rhymed oasis with pelvis. The shepherd girl howls a corrective rhyme, her braids whipping like angry cobras. The scorpion backs down, clicking pincers to the melody of Layla and Majnun. You toss a captured beetle at its face. Ancient enemies, they duel in a miniature sand arena. 5 minutes later, beetle triumphs. It carves a victory ode into your forearm with its mandibles. Blood script reads, walk where scorpion venom traces Orion's shield. Easier done when your pores start leaking blue-black rivulets. The toxin's hallucination, sweet spot, sand softens into moon cheese. Stars pull closer on nautical ropes. You grab Sirius like a doorknob. It burns through your glove prints. Ahead, 3 stone pillars form a disjointed trilithon. Slide through sideways, the left stone's warm. 37, 2 degrees C exactly, human core temperature. Warm your palms here to recalibrate inner thermostats. Early 20th century, British soldiers misused these as back scratchers. Their diaries whine about granite fleas. The right stone sweats mercury. Collect it in a goatskin improvised barometer sloshing in your satchel. The center stone, pure lodestone. Your fillings scream. Spit out that molar, it hovers midair, pointing toward a dune shaped like a lounging sphinx. The punchline, it's natural erosion, not pharaohs, but pretend otherwise for morale. Climb the sphinx's paw, your shadow detaches to map the route. It vaults ahead, contorting into arabesques only possible with borrowed bones. Where it cartwheels, sand solidifies into stepping stones. Where it falters, quicksand yawns. Halfway up, your heel grinds fossilized coral. Pry it loose 5, 3 million years old and still salty. Lick it, not for navigation, pure curiosity. A Ukrainian paleontologist once found 83 similar fossils here lined up as a jump rope course. Why? Best theory involves fermented camel milk and a dare. The summit reveals a cracked basin, ancient rainwater pooled under quartz. Drink with care, each sip unlocks a memory not yours. 9th century silk, merchant weeping over spills. Rashidun Caliphate scout, scenting enemy campfires, you vomiting politely behind a rock. Dawn's first blade cuts the horizon. Your pupils dilate, manual aperture adjustment for the light show. The sky bleeds through indigo to bruised yellow. Navigational Rule 13. Sunrise directions, flip unless recited backward. Mumble the dawn palindrome. It tastes of overstepped mint tea. True north now jabs your spleen. Follow the ache, past a petrified acacia, bent like a hermit's spine. Its thorns hum when wind hits B-flat. Plug one ear. The other hears caravan bells 3 kilometers northeast. Or is that tinnitus from the beetle battle? Ahead, the desert folds into a stone accordion. Each crease hides trial markers, woven hair ribbons, charred date pits, a mummified baboon hand. The ultimate test: pluck the right artifact without triggering rockfalls. Choose the baboon. Wrong. The cliffside vomits shale. Run, your poem becomes a sprinting cadence. Left foot, sand. Right foot, stride. Stumble into a wadi where the air smells of wet camel. Not a mirage, the ground squelches. 14 meters down, a prehistoric aquifer winks through cracks. Drill the surface with a spinning heel, Bedouin rotary, drilling circa whenever. Mud bubbles up thick with diatoms and regret. Filter it through your headscarf. What remains tastes like victory, and slightly of toenail. Beside the seep, a sandstone plinth etched with rescue odes. Touch line 7. The rock whispers the verse through your femoral artery. Each syllable steers you west. Tripping over petrified dung, you spot the final marker. A single ibex horn juts from a salt flat. Blow through its hollow curve, the note cracks the earth. What emerges isn't a path, but a petitioner's stairway. Quartz steps descend into a gallery of star poems frozen in basalt. Your Apple Watch dies here, all tech does. The poems hum louder. They press directions into your medulla, soft paternal thumps saying this way home. No need to read. Just walk, letting millennia-old consonants realign your marrow. The exit appears as a slit of peach-colored sky. Your hips sway automatically, rekindling the Cassida's rhythm. Somewhere ahead, camels belch. Children spar with dried figs. A grandmother mutters about your stench. Civilization. You'd cry, but the desert siphoned your tears miles back. Instead, nutrient-rich snot dries into a salt mask. Welcome back, star learner. The ibex horn's last vibration still hums in your molars as you emerge, sweat crystallizing on your neck into a salted choker. That petitioner's stairway led not to solace, but a honeycombed cavern where every wall weeps. Touch the damp stone, your fingerprint ridges swell with ancestral well depths. 9th century geographer Al-Masudi wrote of these caves. Call them the desert's tear ducts. His maps labeled this region a R letter 1E0D, Al-Buka Macron letter 2BE, the Weeping Land. Historians still argue whether Bedouin poets encoded aquifer locations or just rhapsodized about literal tears. You stoop to lave your face, the water recoils. Try murmuring the humpback verse from last night's beetle inscription. The pool relents. Its surface ripples into a topographical chart. Shadows mark sediment layers, each band of darkness, a different epic's thirst. A submerged camel's skull grins up its jaw, rotated 45 degrees. The punchline: north. Always north. Squelch westward. The cave funnels you into a sandstone throat. Mid-crawl, your kneecap dislodges a pottery shard. glazed turquoise, Ayyubid dynasty leftovers. Its curve fits your palm like a lover's jawline. Press it to your ear. Hear a dead potter's final lament. 5 fingers wide, dig here for the sweet veins. You roll your eyes, but count 5 hand spans anyway. Strike quartz, a spring surges forth with the urgency of a gossip. The water table's livid. It hisses through your canteen like a betrayed mamba. Sip anyway. Your small intestine knots, a sign you've breached the 9th purification tier. Check your shadow. It's now clinging to your ankles like cling film. Navigational verses warn about shortened shades that lie. Flip the warning. Stomp where your shadow won't. Each footprint blooms lichen, neon green career last, walkways TM for disoriented beetles. Ahead, a dune shaped like a slumped chess rook. Scale its eastern face, granules slip underfoot like greased ball bearings. Near the crest, your pinky snags a buried cord. Yank, up comes a corroded astrolabe tangled in hair. Not human, the strands are woolly, reeking of myrrh. A shepherd's oracle tool. The Museum of Islamic Art displays similar relics attributed to Sufi star counters. This one's different. Its reedy spins backward, stars labeled with food metaphors. Vega, goat's eyeball. Sirius, scorpion molt soup. Brush the rust, it flakes into paprika-scented dunes. Sneeze thrice, each explosion scatters a new constellation overhead. The 3rd sneeze hangs suspended, a mucus nebula glinting with mica. Swallow pride, taste galactic arrogance. The dune's far side slopes into a fossilized riverbed. Follow its serpentine curve, kicking up Paleolithic dental plaque and regrets. A cairn materializes, stacked hyena skulls nod into abacus beads. Slide them onto your wrist, each bone clack counts leagues to the next seep. But which wrist? Left for mirage distances, right for actual. You forget. Play it safe, strap them to both forearms. Now you're accessorized like a deranged tax auditor. Dusk molds the sky into pewter, your cue to decode the day's final layer. Unwrap a fig from your sash. Its fissures mimic canyon networks. Bite strategically, juice trails map underground rivers. The pulp, useless, spit it toward a suspiciously smooth boulder. Impact echoes hollow. Prized open, its belly coughs up papyrus shreds. Squint their shopping lists. 3 measures barley, 1 competent dowser. Love, Aunt Nafisa. Circa 1322 CE, verified by the rampant misspellings. Nightfall ignites the cold. Your campfire's smoke braids into cuneiform, a helpline for disgruntled jinn. Ignore their whispered shortcuts. True north now tugs at your coccyx, medically concerning, but tradition. A sand viper slithers over your boot, its scales catching moonlight like more stashes. Let it coil around your calf, living compass. Head toward whichever direction makes it yawn. 2 kilometers later, it unhinges its jaws at a seeping wadi. Release it with a tusk. The snake flicks its tongue in Quranic verse before vanishing. Dawn finds you squinting at a limestone plinth. Its carvings show goats dancing around a well, their hooves stamping prime digging spots. Tap the central glyph, the rock purrs. Not a metaphor, actual feline vibrations. Press your cheek to its warmth. Hear a buried aquifer's heartbeat. Or is that last night's fermented goat cheese staging a coup? The quirky bit. Neolithic well diggers once planted sandfish skinks upside down as living divining rods. Their wriggles reportedly pointed to water, though modern herpetologists call foul. You spot a skink tail poking from the grit. Give it a hopeful poke. It rewards you with a non-committal twitch. Maybe yes, maybe sunbathing. Dig where the tail pointed. Shallow groundwater greets your shovel. Drink deep, your kidneys throw a rave. Scan the horizon, 3 vultures spiral. Not omens, just breakfast enthusiasts. They lead you to a cairn of dung cakes and disappointment. Carve the day's coordinates into a cake's edge. Tomorrow's wanderers will either curse or thank you. Sunrise sears the dune's gold. Your shadow stretches into a giraffe-necked monstrosity. Step where its atoms apple bobs. The sand sighs into a firmer crust. By noon, you're marooned in a salt flat. Whiteness, so stark it edits your regrets. A half-buried reed basket protrudes like a punctuation mark. Inside, petrified dates and a child's leather sandal. Chew the dates, they powder into bitter latitude corrections. The sandal fits, left foot. Swap boots, balance demands it. Miles later, your mismatched soles stumble upon a poetry trap. Wind-carved stones chant couplets when stepped on. Wrong answers trigger sinkholes. Recite the counterverse. Thirst carves deeper than ambition. Trust the hoopoe's hollow bone. The stones still. One pivots, revealing a cache of onyx tablets. Their engravings glow, faintly radioactive. Squint, their star poems annotated by medieval skeptics. Margin notes rant about overly florid descriptions of dirt. Dust devil appears, its vortex stuffed with historical receipts. Grab one. Paid 12 dirhams to Zayd ibn Thabit for well-digging chants. Results unsatisfactory. The devil snatches it back, spiteful archivist. Twilight's indigo rush obscures the trail. You resort to the blindfold method. 3 spins, dagger toss navigation. The blade quivers east-northeast. Retrieve it. Find the tip painted with luminescent worm guts. Follow the glow smeared on Saxol shrubs every 7 paces. The beetles responsible. Genetically unimpressed, they click insults from the shadows. A final dune parts like theater curtains, revealing a trench of singing sand. Jump in, it swallows you to the waist. Each struggling step plays a different note. Your thighs harmonize in E-flat, key of existential fatigue. The dunes record your ballad. Somewhere, a grandmother taps her foot to your rhythm, muttering off-key, but heartfelt. At the trench's end, a seepage-fed acacia. Its roots clutch a ceramic jar. Unstopper it, starlight pours out, liquid and insistent. The label, for emergency wayfinding drink when horizon impersonates the sky. You chug, The cosmos floods your occipital lobe. Constellations rearrange into subway maps. Orion's belt becomes the blue line, transfers at Sirius Central. Dawn finds you urinating lapis blue. A passing merchant chuckles, tosses a salt lick shaped like your childhood home. Suck on it, memory and electrolyte replacement collide. The path ahead blurs, you walk anyway. Let the poem's buried aquifers guide your souls. Let the stars hum in your molars. Let the sand forget your name. You lick a knuckle, taste bitter comet, dust from last night's meteor binge. The sky still smolders with celestial after-party litter, each shooting star's trail etched like a scratch ticket. Bedouin poets called these streaks Khat al-Ra, the soul's signature. Your guidebook insists they're space pebbles, vaporizing. But your left nostril swears it smells burnt frankincense. 12th century astronomer al-Biruni tracked clans, timing migrations to the quadrantid shower. Their radiant point hovered near Quadrans Muralis, a constellation now scrubbed from star charts. You try spotting it anyway, squint, until your tear ducts mimic the vanished stars. A pebble wedges in your sandal, toss it skyward for divination. Where it lands dictates tonight's camp mood. It clacks against a scorpion back. Now you're negotiating shelter rights. The quirky bit. Desert scouts once juggled meteoritic shards to boost night vision. Modern optometrists cringe, but you attempt it with quartz chips. They slice your palm. The blood droplets resemble a flawed Ursa Minor. You pitch camp where two dune crests intersect, nature's asterisk. Unroll a prayer rug woven with eclipses. Its silk threads prickle charged by that morning's geomagnetic tantrum. Recite the meteor verse. Veins of heaven bleed direction, char the path, spare the righteous. The horizon flickers obligingly. Historians still argue whether scorched sky versus described spiritual awe or just survival shorthand for don't walk where lightning might fork you. A papyrus fragment surfaces at your feet, water damaged, but legible. It lists 11th century fireball sightings alongside grocery items. 4 sacks millet, 1 mule resistant to existential panic. Classic multitasking. Mid-snooze, a gamma ray burst tattoos your eyelids. You wake chanting a protection ode you've never heard, your uvula vibrating at funeral march tempo. The sand beneath you thrums. Digging reveals a terracotta urn full of petrified meteorwort. Labeled for emergency transcendence, chew sparingly. You nibble, the taste is regret Fahrenheit. A nearby cairn coughs up a 1940s Boy Scout manual Arabic translations, scribbled in margarine. Page 23 warns. Meteor showers amplify mirage deceptions. You bookmark it with a fingernail clipping, already warping into a crescent moon shape. Dawn arrives as a tarnished nickel. Your shadow's beard grows 3 inches, an optical effect from light refraction. Scroll through the mental archive. 8th century poets tied meteor density to date harvest viability. You count 13 streaks per hour, interpretation. Stop hoarding dried apricots. A drone buzzes overhead, disguised as a horned viper. Swat it down, revealing a cargo hold stuffed with RFID-tagged meteorites. The manifest lists coordinates matching sacred sites, corporate pilgrimage too. Leave it buried under a joke. Heap goat pellets into a smiley face, GPS eyes crossed. Lunch is a protein bar renamed Comet Crumble in Sharpie. The wrapper claims now with 30% more cosmic irony. You savor 36 choose, the exact number of verses needed to bless a well. Nearby, a Jerboa's sneeze dislodges a rusted nomad tag. Its inscription, Asses, swallowed by the Geminids, tell his wife the sky looked tasty. Sunset brings a thermal inversion, air so still you hear meteoroid debris sizzle. Your teeth ache in Morse code, translates to veer southwest. The compass app disagrees, its screen glitching into a digital Zamrock album cover. Tradition says trust molars, you obey. Crunching through a crust of fossilized algae, moonrise unveils a sandstone altar, its surface pocked with impact craters. Press your ear to a thumbprint-sized dent. Hear a 760 CE fireball's death rattle. This slab HOSTED Chinese letter offerings, now just fossilized goat butter and existential doubt. Scatter some chia seeds as tribute. They sprout instantly, spelling wrong way in Proto-Arabic. A neutrino zaps through your femur, no spiritual significance, just bad luck. Limp toward a cliff etched with cancellation symbols. Boulder carvings depict elders hurdling meteors like diabolical jump ropes. One figure's face mirrors your caffeine withdrawals, comforting, in a cosmic prank sort of way. Dig a lunar pit using a spoon forged from Sputnik debris. Soil layers reveal charred poetry fragments, each line a different take on celestial anger. Layer 14 whispers. Stars don't weep, they spit. Your canteen chooses this moment to combust, suspicious timing. The final meteor streaks at 2:47 a.m., ionizing your nose hair. Bedouin tradition claims this sky scribble encodes tomorrow's hazards. You decode. Stick figure camel, check engine light, something resembling a tax audit. Sleep anyway, let the constellations bicker over your route. Their slander becomes tomorrow's travel anthem. Your boots sink into sand, rebranded as seasonal glue althurias. First gleam turns dunes into sticky cosmic flypaper. That's the Pleiades for you, 7-starred taskmaster of Bedouin monsoon rites. Legend says its heliacal rising tugged rains northward. Poets memorized the exact angle like celestial punch clock codes. Traditional planting dates weren't suggestions, miss by 3 verses, and your barley crop became Jerboa brunch. You palm a fistful of grit, still warm from starlight friction. 9th century pearl, divers timed plunges to Althuria's zenith, its reflection on calm waters supposedly outshone oyster lusters, a mainstream fact your guide omits. Those dives funded early star poetry scholarships. What? You thought desert bards survived on metaphor coupons. The air smells like trampled time and pending epiphany. Build a makeshift observatory. With camel rib bones, archaeologists found similar sites near Oman's lost city of Ubar. Line the spokes with myrrh. It dampens light pollution from your existential dread. Peek through the femur viewfinder. Altheurea pulses like a diamond hiccup. One elder's rhyme loops in your skull. 7 sisters spin the sieve, coarse sand falls. Monsoons rise. A quirky tidbit worms in medieval poets claimed singing to the Pleiades distorted local gravity. They'd recite while jumping, reportedly hung airborne a half-breath longer. You attempt it, pre-leap, muttering rain sower, dunebower, and face-splint into a sand sculpture resembling your self-esteem. Historians still argue whether Altheurea chants summoned storms or just exploited existing climate patterns. Your left eyelid twitches, universal sign for split the difference. Ancient petroglyphs nearby show figures bowing to the constellation while discreetly holding rain gauges. Pragmatic mysticism at its finest. Dusk unravels the sky's stitching. Stars poke through moth-eaten twilight. Map Altheurea's position using a lichen sundial, repurposed as a Ouija board. The shadow tip spells plant late, irrigate hate, either agricultural advice or a zodiacal diss track. Your canteen's condensation mimics monsoon sweat. Each droplet holds a microcosmic Nile. 7th century flood predictions hinged on Altheurea's color shift. Bluish hues meant ample floods. Reddish meant sell your date stocks. Modern meteorologists prefer Doppler radar. But where's the fun in that? A sand fox burps a hexameter couplet, dissonant but metrically sound. Its den hides a stone tablet cataloging forbidden rhymes, words that allegedly angered cloud spirits. Cumulonimbus sits top, punishable by 3 days of aggressive dew. Your GPS pings. It's the USDA plant hardiness zone map. Compare it to 9th century poetry scrolls. Overlap startles you. Zones shift. But the Pleiades, agricultural timestamps, still hold 89% accuracy. The other 11% blamed on lazy asterisms in margin notes. MIDNIGHT, Chinese letter a parched tongue against a quartz slab. It's said to conduct stellar hums. Altheurea's frequency vibrates your molars into Morse code. Dots and dashes translate to dig here for the drama. Shovel strikes ceramic, an urn labeled monsoon moonshine. 40% Av, 60% hope. The first sip tastes like fermented lightning. Second sip, your uvula flaps, semaphore flags. Third sip, the dunes ripple into tide patterns. A Bedouin proverb echoes. Drunk stars tell sober truths. The Pleiades swirl into a septuple helix, each star a syllable in a DNA-esque rainfall mantra. Dawn leaks through night's sieve. Altheurea fades like a withdrawn promise. Residual verses cling to your cortex. 7 guides, 7 veils lift one, Drench 3, forsake none. Translation: pack light, but memorization heavy. Your shadow now stretches into next week, or maybe that's heat delirium. Carve today's path using a dagger scored with tide charts. Sand grains stick to the blade, each whispers a different planting rhyme. Filter out the advice mentioning blood fertilizer, poetic license gone macabre. A mirage taunts, floating cityscape, featuring neon-lit sheiks flipping raincloud futures. Swipe left, it pixelates into a cautionary haiku about over-irrigation. Your big toes blister, traditional sign to revise crop rotation schedules. Lunch: sun-baked locusts, glazed with fermented palm sap, gourmet desert survival. The aftertaste evokes a nursery rhyme. 6 hops east, 5 crunches west, dig where the buzz hinges. You obey, unearth a bronze astrolabe engraved with tick-tock handles of 8th century astronomers. Wristwatch alarms, heliacal rising in 20. Strip naked, traditional rain summoning dress code. The ritual flopping feels less sacred when a tour group's drone buzzes overhead. Later, TripAdvisor reviews will joke about star-crazed bellaflops, but the clouds bruise purple on schedule. Drops pelt your scalp, each holds a dissolved star map. Catch one on your tongue, it tastes like syllabus. Althuria's victory lap ripples the wadi, 1,000 ephemeral streams etching navigational haiku into mud. Scribble the verses quick, they'll evaporate by moonrise, taking your best couplet hostage. The storm passes, air goose-pimpled and ionized. Your beard grows moss, a moisture trophy. Unroll sodden star charts, ink bled into Rorschach crop forecasts. One splotch clearly depicts a camel riding a waterspout. Prioritize that omen. Moonlight resurrects the dunes' silver veneer. Althuria's sisters now guard the western horizon. Work shift ended. Hum their closing hymn. Tonight's lyrics include a surprisingly catchy auto-tune. Bed down where raindrops drew a Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter of lichen. TOMORROWS, Chinese letter, begins with eclipsed Venus winking like a co-conspirator. Your shadow climbs a dune's curve, each grain underfoot whispering paragraphs. Desert memory palaces aren't marble halls, they're shifting slopes mapped to mental stanzas. You kneel, press your ear to sand, still humming last night's verse. 9th century poets trained for decades to link terrain peaks to lyrical peaks. One mainstream nugget your guidebook skips. This technique predates the Greeks' method of loci by centuries. A sand viper coils into a semicolon. Pause here for dramatic effect. Slide your palm across the dune's windward face, textured like an unrolled scroll. Each ridge corresponds to a couplet, the trough between a caesura, mispronounce a word, and your mental map collapses into nonsensical hillocks. Historians still argue whether these mental dunes held practical roots or were mystic portals. You side-eye a sedimentary layer resembling your ex's signature. Debates can wait. The midday sun bleaches your cortex blank. Time for a quirky trick. Taste test mnemonics. Scoop a memory-aiding sand blend. 60% quartz, 40% hubris. Let it dissolve on your tongue. Flavors erupt. Burnt myrrh, verse 13. Fermented goat milk, stanza 6. And tangy regret, footnote 4. Your hippocampus hiccups. Suddenly, you're reciting a water source ode backward. A fossilized camel print doubles as a stanza divider. Trace its edges. Poets once hid emergency rhymes under similar markers. Your fingernail unearths a pottery shard etched with 5 paces west squint. You comply, spot a rock shaped like a disgruntled librarian. Chapter 8's mnemonic clicks. Shelve disputes where the shusher stands. Wind reshapes the dunes. Your mental index scrambles. Adjust like the ancients. Hum a tempo-shifting chant to remap verses in real time. Overcompensate. Now the southern ridge rhymes with a Britney Spears chorus. Delete that. A jerboa darting past triggers associative recall. Its zigzag path mirrors a poem's volta. 13th century singers allegedly bribed rodents to rehearse key stanzas. Your trail mix offering fails. The critter moonwalks instead. Twilight complicates matters. Sand cools into a brain-analogous slab, synapses of silica. Lie flat. Let constellations press their glyphs into your back. Orion's belt cinches your memory palace tight. Jupiter photobombs. Its gravity tugs a haiku out of alignment. Midnight brings clarity. You build a mini-dune. Proportions matching the 15 disgraces of overdrinking cantos. Recite while pacing its perimeter. Each lap firms a synaptic pathway. Neighboring tourists mistake it for eccentric Pilates. By dawn, your mind's dune field blooms with retained verses. One slope crumbles, the opening lines to ode of arid lovers, but you let it go. Survival trumps romance here. Pack your cerebral sandbags. Monsoon clouds loom. The first raindrop hits like a footnote asterisk time to test your mnemonic metal. Navigate the swelling wadi using only half-remembered flood couplets. Mistake a caesura for a crescendo. You're waist deep in poetic irony. The storm passes. Your reconstructed memory palace stands, soggy but intact. Carve the day's final stanza into a sun-cracked boulder. Use a chisel made from yesterday's poor decisions. The etching reads, dunes forget, sing louder. The monsoon's aftermath leaves dunes bloated, their slopes rearranged like a drunkard's alphabet. Your carved stanza drowns under fresh silt. Time to rewrite. Bedouin poets faced this daily grind, their verses as fluid as the sands they mapped. Mainstream historians note trading caravans rerouted here in 1123 CE, reshaping both dunes and the odes tied to them. You prod a newborn sand ridge. It deflates like a souffle of disappointment. Pull out the old trick. Sing the hymn of unstable ground while scattering date pits. Each pit becomes an anchor, lyrical punctuation, holding the verse in place. The Dunasheet groans, adjusting its grammar to your crooning. A 1987 study claimed certain frequencies could stabilize sand your off-key vocals. Disprove that neatly. A tourist group stumbles past their GPS pinging like distressed crickets. Turn left in 300 meters. It chirps. You pity their lack of poetic malleability by dusk. Those coordinates'll be a dune's belly button. One hiker snaps selfies with a disgruntled librarian rock, now buried under 2 tons of grit. Historians still argue whether verse updates were group efforts or lone poets howling amendments into sandstorms. You find evidence in a wind-carved alcove, scorch, marks from 9th century coffee pots circle revised couplets. The caffeine-stained rhymes feel jazzier, syncopated beats for swifter dunes. Here's the quirky bit. Certain elders insisted singing to sand altered its minerals. They'd perform lunar serenades to quartz particles, claiming it softened the verse's teeth. You lick a grain, tastes like a falsetto C-sharp. Reconfigure your mental map. The north, stars still jailbroken, its position decoded in stanza 4's allegory about overcooked lamb. But that dune shaped like your Aunt Mason, replaced by a slope mimicking her divorce settlement. You swipe left, erasing a verse about ibex migrations, now blocked by newborn dunes. A sandstorm survivor's journal surfaces in your pack, its pages brittle as stale bread. The margin notes haunt. Revised line 12 thrice today, dune 8, my favorite metaphor. You spot the culprit, a crescent-shaped drift, devouring rhyme schemes like appetizers. Nightfall brings the real work. Orion's belt tightens, its 3 stars snapping the sky into focus. Chant the stellar core, verses unchanged for millennia. The scorpion's tail dips, the well's tongue laps. Beneath this bedrock, newer lines wriggle, adapting to the desert's ADHD. Your campfire dies. Embers mimic the Pleiades cluster, a backup navigation system for the rhyme-impaired. A 6-legged beetle drags a petrified raisin past your boot, nature's blooper reel. You draft a haiku for it, but the dunes shift, mid-syllable turning, persistent into pestilent. Close enough, dawn reveals your revised mental map, half Talmud, half jazz improvisation. The core star paths remain etched in cosmic vinyl, while dune-specific verses flutter like remix tracks. You inhale deeply, the scent of reheated tradition, with a side of adaptive funk. A child's kite snags on a rock spire, its tail looping the opening line of Ode to Merciful Winds. You smile, recognizing today's verses will someday fray like that kite. But the string, that'll stay, the stubborn chord, connecting every desert generation's voice. The kite's torn tail flutters down, lodging in a trader's camel bag like a misplaced verse. You follow its trail to a caravan, materializing through heat haze, its bells clanking in discordant rhyme. These aren't just spice merchants. They're smugglers of words, their saddlebags stuffed with foreign constellations, repurposed for Bedouin meters. One trader offers saffron from Kashmir, its threads dyed With Persian star myths, you counter with a verse about Al-Jabar's comet sweeping the sky like a merchant's broom. His eyes narrow. Haggling here isn't just about spices. It's a duel of poetic cadence. He croons a Gujarati lullaby twisted into a desert dirge. You retaliate with a Sindhi trading chant, but sandstorm roughened. The deal seals when your off-brand rhyme makes his donkey sneeze. Mainstream textbooks fixate on the Silk Road, yet few mention the verse exchange of 1298. That's when Omani poets swapped eclipse predictors for Mongolian throat-singing techniques. The result, a hybrid ode predicting both sandstorms and horse migrations. You find a scrap of it here tattooed on a water skin that's seen 12 centuries of bad decisions. A spice sack splits. Cumin seeds scatter into a perfect D-shaped constellation. The caravan's poet leaps to name it Alhab, the seed of borrowed time. You smirk. By dawn, it'll dissolve into a gerbil's breakfast. Still, you pocket a seed. Maybe tonight's revised ode needs a pinch of foreign absurdity. Historians still argue whether Persian astrolabe terms corrupted Bedouin poetry or gave it sharper teeth. The truth, both, like that time Greek fire recipes, inspired metaphors for meteor showers. You trace a line here, Aramaic loanwords, elbow aside old desert terms. One poem's refrain now includes Kandahar, a smuggler's term for moonlit detour. Watch the quirky part unfold. A merchant unravels a rug of dubious provenance. Its weave contains star maps from 5 cultures. Tibetan sky burials edge against Incan constellation grids, all held together by verses of compromise. You spot your own tribes, symbols near a coffee stain, negotiated during some caffeine-fueled summit. The rug smells of mutton fat and desperate diplomacy. An argument erupts over frankincense grades, measured not by scent, but by compatibility with lunar odes. This batch only harmonizes during waning moons, snarls a Yemeni trader. You lob a testing verse. The resin's smoke twists into helix patterns. Close enough. The caravan's youngest poet scribbles the results, using ink made from donkey dung and raisin wine. His quill splutters, protesting commas. Nightfall forces a camp merge your fire and theirs. Stories crossbreed like stubborn mules. A Bengali star myth mutates into a cautionary tale about overpriced camels. Someone hums a Byzantine hymn, its cadence warped to praise date harvests. You contribute a stanza only to hear it echoed back with Armenian vowel shifts. It's beautiful. It's chaos. It's progress with a sidecar of identity theft. Dawn exposes the cultural hangover. Half the merged verses now mean thirsty camel in 3 languages, none intentionally. The caravan packs up, taking fragments of your tribe's star catalog. You gain a Phoenician tide rhyme useless here, but penguins would have loved it. As they depart, the lead merchant shouts a final line. May your dunes stay as fickle as your metaphors. You kick a smuggled clove. It bounces off a rock, shaped like a disapproving elder. The exchange works. Tomorrow's poems will taste stranger, spiced with syllables from beyond the sands. You recite a revised water-finding verse, now featuring Cambodian monsoon rhythms. The desert listens. Somewhere, an aquifer adjusts its tempo. You trace hieroglyphs in the sand, each line a shrinking echo of star, paths your ancestors knew by heart. A satellite blinks overhead, its cold pulse drowning out Althuria's ancient twinkle. Your grandfather's star poems now gather dust in a goat hair pouch replaced by a buzzing GPS unit duct taped to a camel's saddle. The beast eyes it sideways, stubborn as scholars clinging to scrolls in a photocopier age. Elders mutter about drones stealing the sky's secrets, while teens snicker their thumbs dancing across smartphone screens. You catch a fragment of tonight's poetry recital, its verses interrupted by a delivery app notification. The lead poet glares his rhythm, shattered like clay tablets under tank treads. One elder tries merging traditions, chanting water-finding odes into a voice memo app. The recording picks up wind noise and a distant car alarm. Mainstream histories pin the shift to 1998, when military GPS units flooded Bedouin markets through backdoor deals. Within 5 monsoons, over 300 star poems had degenerated into campfire trivia. You find proof in a cracked screen, a pixelated ancestors verse app misfiring alerts about Venus transits during sandstorms. Its robotic voice mispronounces Al-Jadi, calling it Jalapi's goat. The nearest youth shrugs, close enough. Watch the fringe twist unfold. A rogue poetess programs drones to carve constellation symbols in dune crests, her sky graffiti visible only at dawn. Purists boycott her performances until they realize camels follow the etched patterns better than GPS. Her final show features a quadcopter dropping saffron-scented scrolls, each dissolving midair to mock both tradition and progress. Historians still argue whether cheap solar panels doomed celestial navigation faster than satellites. The truth winks between extremes, like that doomed UN project to preserve star poems as NFT camel tokens. You stumble on one such token, a pixelated alhub glowing in your palm. The blockchain data reveals 3 owners, all AIs trained on misprinted 14th century manuscripts. Your boot kicks a sandstone shard, once part of a navigation cairn. Now, it's tagged by augmented reality hikers seeking desert influencer cred. Their app translates your water-finding verses into TikTok dances, lunar phases reduced to hand jives. You hum a corrective melody, only to hear it auto-tuned into a remix by passing Tesla coils. Midnight reveals the saddest theft. Teenagers cluster around a projector, its beam painting the Milky Way onto an inflatable screen. They ooh at digital stars, labeled in Comic Sans, untroubled by the real cosmos weeping light above. An elder shakes his divining stick at the spectacle, its shadow accidentally spelling LOL in Arabic. Dawn finds you recalibrating, blending old and doomed. You etch a star poem onto a solar-charged tablet, then hurl it into a wadi. Let future archaeologists gag on our contradictions. The desert exhales its breath, fogging the screen's dying pixels into something resembling truth. A sand sprint away, the last star poet alive recites to an audience of scorpions. His finale, a whispered pun about black holes and mislaid waterskins. The scorpions applaud with their tails, unaware the joke's already trending as minimalist Slack emojis. You pocket a final artifact, a GPS chip dipped in camel wax. Maybe next generations, poets will plant these in the dunes. Let satellites bloom into mangled constellations of their own. The horizon hums with Wi-Fi static, each bar a tombstone for a star. No one names anymore. Your fingertips graze the GPS chip's wax casing, its ridges mimicking the star patterns etched on your grandfather's long-buried compass stone. Ahead, glare from a pop-up tech tent cuts through the dusk. Inside, linguists cradle microphones like sacred objects, reciting fragments of navigation odes into software. The algorithm stumbles, transforming Al-Jadi's left horn points to hidden springs, into jalapeno horns springs, hidden in salsa. A grad student facepalms, her latte fogging the tablet screen. You witness the UNESCO project's crowning joke, volunteers scanning 80-year-old cassette tapes from the 1950s. One hissing reel captures a master poet's cough mid-verse, now immortalized as a preservation crisis. The team's solution: an AI trained on 6,000 hours of camel grumbles to fill in the gaps. It produces a love song to Venus, sung in a falsetto that makes stray dogs howl. Watch developers demo the Ancestors Verse AR app, its interface projecting holographic constellations over your campfire. Althuria pulses turquoise until a software bug morphs it into a cartoon unicorn. Purists hiss, elders chuckle, kids cheer. One teen projects the app onto her tent's ceiling, mixing star paths with K-pop holograms. You catch her whispering corrected coordinates to the virtual Big Dipper, just in case. The quirky twist: a crypto poet collective mines Dogecoin by reciting navigation verses into blockchain ledgers. Their rigged server farm, buried beneath Ras Al Khaimah's dunes, crashes whenever sand infiltrates the cooling fans. Last month, their malfunctioning AI generated Sonnet 43 featuring Shakespeare directing camels via Polaris. Art critics called it unintentional genius. Historians still argue whether 19th century Bedouin star poems influenced Polynesian wayfinding chants, or if parallel wisdom bloomed under shared skies. You lean toward cosmic plagiarism. After finding Tahitian lyrics about the crab who stole the moon's path, suspiciously resembling Nabati verses, the academic feud spills onto Twitter, reduced to meme wars between beach and desert emojis. Nightfall unveils the saddest cyborg moment. A self-proclaimed astro rapper freestyles over digitized star poems, his smartwatch projecting rhyming constellations. The app misidentifies Sirius as Bezos's blue and monetizes ads for Sahara-themed crypto wallets. His hype man, a refurbished Mars rover, spins on rusted treads to the beat. You stumble into a hybrid ritual, tech bros and poets collaborating on drone-led constellation walks. LED quadcopters sketch Alfarkadon's twins in the sky while elders murmur corrective verses below. One drone malfunctions, dragging a glowing leash of toilet paper across the Milky Way. The crowd debates whether it's art or airspace violation until a camel eats the evidence. Dawn exposes the revival's dirty secret, an app glitch that erases star poems if your phone battery dips below 20%. You find a poet nerd bartering solar chargers for forgotten couplets, his beard tangled with USB cables. It's not exploitation, he insists. It's curation through scarcity. His latest upload, a water-finding rhyme auto-tuned to Dua Lipa's bass lines, guaranteed to make scorpions dance. The breakthrough arrives packaged as failure. A child's AR headset, discarded near a wadi, projects corrected star paths through cracked lenses. You peer through and glimpse the true Al-Jadi, its hologram, aligning with the actual constellation for 3 breathless seconds. Reality glitches, sand becoming pixels, then the battery dies. You pocket the device, its warmth mirroring the old goat hair pouch's weight. As dusk returns, you join a silent disco star recital. Wireless headphones pipe in elders' voices, filtered through lo-fi beats. Teens sway, their synchronized dance mapping forgotten migration routes. One girl mouths the words perfectly, her grandmother's cadence bleeding through autotune. The moment frays when someone's earbud plays a shampoo ad mid-verse. Your last hope, a hacker collective reprogramming traffic, satellites to broadcast star poems as encrypted noise. They've hijacked 17 government orbiters, transforming weather data streams into guzzles. You intercept their test transmission, a love poem to already broken by the Russian Space Agency's copyright strike. The desert absorbs it all, innovation and sacrilege dissolving into its throat. You plant the wax-coated GPS chip beneath a cairn, imagining its signal blooming into a new asterism. Maybe future navigators will curse its electric pulse, even as they trail your phosphorescent footsteps. You kneel beside the cairn, its stones still warm from the day's heat, as a desert tech van rumbles into view. Inside, a team of audio archaeologists huddle over a digitized wax cylinder, recording from 1903. The needle skips over camel hair particulates embedded in the grooves, each pop resurrecting a star poem's fractured syllables. Their software maps vocal tremors, red spikes flaring whenever the long-dead reciter hit critical waypoints. Hear that whispers a linguist. Every stressed vowel aligns with Albacar's winter position. A mainstream footnote breaks through. These recordings were almost lost when British colonial officers confused them for tribal music, filing them under miscellaneous folk chants in a humidity-rotted archive. Now cleanroom gloves handle the relics. The one intern accidentally samples a sneeze into the dataset. The rogue, high SHOO, becomes a trending remix. Bedouin star coordinates blasted over dubstep drops at Dubai raves. The quirkiest find emerges at 3 a.m. Spectral analysis reveals a secondary voice beneath the main recording, a woman humming countermelodies that precisely mirror Venus's retrograde motion. Her identity, a mystery, though the team's pet theory involves a poet's sister correcting his errors via kitchen acoustics. They name her the Oracle of the Oven and program her hums into a smart oven that burns crescent moon patterns into pita bread. Historians still argue whether the stress patterns were intentional mnemonic devices or just elderly reciters battling sore throats. You side-eye the debate, having watched a grad student's algorithm discover a supposed water map that turned out to be the poet's dental records. The team pivots, training AI on hawk screeches as a more reliable desert frequency. Witness the birth of vowel cartography, a startup projecting ancient phonetic stresses onto satellite maps. Their first demo reveals a perfect match between a recited gasp and an uncharted oasis, until Google Earth updates and erases it. The CEO insists it's a dynamic hydrology feature, while refunding investors with sand art NFTs. Your turning point comes via a corrupted WAV file. The original poem about trading routes plays normally, but reversed. It becomes a warning about AI overlords harvesting starlight. A Bedouin grandmother in the comments section types, "My toe ring vibrates when I play this." The video hits 2 million views, igniting conspiracies about sonic crop circles. Join a midnight experiment, volunteers reciting stress-mapped verses into dune crests. LiDAR scans show sand particles rearranging into zodiac symbols until a rogue beetle swarm forms a question mark. See, laughs a geologist. Even the deserts under deadline pressure. The archive's crown jewel arrives, a palm leaf manuscript digitized via AI stitchwork. Its poetry shimmers on screen until you spot the Copescape watermark. Turns out a 19th century scribe plagiarized half the verses from a Syrian pastry recipe manual. The team debates whether fold the dough toward Cassiopeia constitutes navigational genius or breakfast tips. Modern meets medieval when a programmer translates star poems into QR codes only to find Bedouin teens scanning them into TikTok dances. The most viral, a hoedown to Al Jabar's coordinates featuring glow-in-the-dark kefiers and a cameo by a spitting camel. Traditionalists fume until tourism revenue funds a new poetry preservation center. Your closure comes in a static-filled epiphany, playing two stress-tagged recordings at once. You hear the overlap create a third, unknown poem. Its rhythm guides you to the cairn, where your buried GPS chip now pulses in sync with Sirius. You pocket it, the wax now melted into the exact shape of your grandfather's wrinkled palm. Dawn leaks through the van's dusty windshield as the archivists doze, their screensavers cycling through infinite star maps. You plug headphones into a patched-in radio telescope, hearing live cosmic radiation converted into a Morse code remix of Nabati odes. The last beep antes up a final koan. What navigates louder, the tongue's memory or the void's silence? The van's Bluetooth answers for you, connecting to a 0-star Ubar rating. You squint at the 0-star rating, blinking on the van's dash. Its pulse synced to the elders' voices archived in your headphones. The road ahead shimmers like a mirage of data streams and goat paths. An old man materializes by the roadside, his thumb pointing at the horizon's edge. His wrinkles mirror the star charts etched in your spectral analysis software. Need a voice print? He rasps, each consonant a dry riverbed. You pretend to adjust the recorder, hoping to capture his GPS-resistant cadence. He launches into a verse, so worn it circles back to prophecy. The team's AI identifies it as Suraka's Guzzle, a 9th century escape route from Sandstorms, but his rendition includes Starbucks locations. Mainstream history rears its dusty head, reminding you that Suraka's poems were nearly erased by colonial census takers who deemed them non-productive speech. Yet this elder's Starbucks detour suggests otherwise. He winks, producing a napkin map where Orion's belt secures a pumpkin spice latte. Quirk of the hour, his left earlobe vibrates at 432 Hz, the exact frequency of polished dune sand. The linguist beside you nearly combusts. That's impossible. She hisses, then freezes as he hums her credit card PIN in perfect iambic pentameter. Turns out, predictable numbers make terrible poetry. Historians still argue whether these living libraries ever used their powers for petty scams. You witness Exhibit A, the elder trading star coordinates for someone's last bottle of mineral water. His justification: thirst bends light faster than a black hole. The van's speaker crackles, translating his gravelly tones into LiDAR waypoints. Half the lines resolve as desert shrines, the rest Burger King drive-thrus, abandoned during the great falafel shortage of 9. The elder shrugs. Modernity tastes like frozen onion rings. You challenge him. Recite Al-Jawz's alignment without the meter. He glares, then spits a perfect spiral of phonemes that materialize as holographic dunes. The team gasps. The projection shows your exact path home. But as you reach to screenshot, it dissolves into a meme of a camel vaping. His finale, a whisper containing 17 generations of star maps. It overloads the audio interface, melting your mic into a palm-sized zodiac. The elder pockets it. Tell your programmers, some songs need no backup. Dawn breaks, the van now empty, except for his afterimage, burned into the windshield. The archived recordings play differently, his laughter scored over the original solemnity. You realize the truth too late. The last star poets weren't preserving knowledge. They were trolling eternity. Blink and the windshield's ghostly overlay syncs with ways. A synthetic voice croons forgotten verses as you exit toward a gas station's neon Cassiopeia. Pumping fuel, you wonder if the receipt's barcode hides a lost couplet. The clerk smirks. He's wearing your melted microphone as a pendant. You hand the clerk a protein bar stamped with astrological signs. His chuckle sounds like a waived transaction fee. Behind him, a child's shadow dances across Mars maps, where grade school projects collide with camel hair tapestries. Want to hear how perseverance outran the Scorpion King? The kid asks, their highlighter pink tablet flashing rover tracks in iambic hexameter. Turns out Bedouin bedtime stories now feature space probes instead of shooting stars. Grandma's Layla and the Starving Gazelle gets remixed with Elon Musk fanfic. Historians note 12th century pedagogues made students chart constellations by arranging sheep knuckles, each joint a celestial checkpoint. But good luck finding that on TikTok's #ancient facts. The clerk taps his pendant mic, its torn wiring humming verses about dunes that breathe between heartbeats. You catch fragmented Arabic slipping into Gen Z slang. Algol becomes that demon light influencer. A toddler nearby babbles rhyme fragments, mixing moon phases with Roblox coordinates. Their juice box bleeds electric blue, the exact shade of twilight over Wadi Rum. Quirk alert, archaeologists recently found a 9th century poem mentioning metal camels without humps near Petra. Conspiracy forums insisted predicts Mars rovers. Never mind that Perseverance's wheels leave treads nothing like dromedary pads. The clerk adds his own twist, claiming curiosity drilled into a sandstone verse vault in 22. NASA's hiding lyrical plutonium. He stage whispers, scanning your face for doubt. You witness the intergenerational handoff firsthand. The clerk teaches the kid to rhyme periapsis with oasis while folding origami zodiacs from Slurpee receipts. Their duet weaves Kuiper belt, objects into the old well of Seven Thirsts ballad. A gaggle of teens records it, auto-tuning the chorus into a viral synthwave track. Historians still argue whether modernization erodes mnemonics, or if drill beats help encode deeper galactic vectors. Dust motes swirl in the neon glow, each particle a possible metaphor waiting to land. The child's sneaker lights pulse, with each perfected couplet mimicking pulsars their ancestors tracked. Someone's phone dings the ringtone, a remix of Sureka's Sandstorm aria. You notice the Angry Birds theme woven into the bridge. Watch this. The clerk grins, handing the kid a glow stick branded with Coptic crosses. They snap it, singing a hybrid lullaby about pharaohs trading nebula coordinates for IKEA meatballs. The blue liquid drips, forming Ursa Minor in a puddle of parking lot oil. A passing trucker shouts the next verse, his CB radio static morphing into an improvised bass line. Later, you find the child teaching crows to croak the chorus of Al Jady Guide's The Silent Trucks. Their reward: French fries arranged like Orion's dagger. The clerk nods sagely. Star poetry survived Roman roads and British railroads. Why not Walmart semis? Moonlight glints off his pendant, now projecting a QR code that links to a SoundCloud mixtape. As you exit, the speakers blast auto-tuned hadiths over trap beats. A billboard cycles through emojis, translating camel-herding proverbs. Your rental car's GPS begs you to follow the neon scorpion past mile marker 73. Somewhere, an elder laughs into a ribbon microphone, his grandkid splicing those decaying tapes into an NFT anthology. The night smells of synthetic myrrh and diesel. You almost miss the turnoff until a child's sticker-covered laptop lights up its screensaver, scrolling those eternal questions. Can TikTok stars navigate by viral verses? Will AIs hallucinate new oases in server farms? The headlights catch a roadrunner darting east, its path mimicking Polaris's coordinates in the clerk's last corrupted MP3. The engine purrs a lullaby in hexadecimal. Sleep tugs at your eyelids, weighted with 12 generations of remixed starlight. Your rental car's AC wheezes a Arabic scale, each note syncing with dashboard alerts about Venus's inferior conjunction. Outside, the highway shrinks to a hairline fracture between sandstone giants. That neon scorpion GPS icon. Nowhere. Just your phone overheating through a 4G dead zone, its cracked screen showing 83% battery and 0 bars. A notification flashes. Lunar eclipse imminent. Tap for AR prayer mat. You swipe left, straight into a sand drift. The steering wheel shudders, crooning a 14th century emergency poem through its vibration motors. When the moon drinks the sun's last wine, turn your back to the jackal's spine. A holographic arrow materializes, pointing toward mesas shaped like Xeroxed camel teeth. Historians confirm Bedouin navigators used eclipses to recalculate routes, their verses encoding alternate paths when familiar stars vanished. That jackal spine, probably Jebel Uinat, a mountain range modern hikers dub nature's spinal tap. Your tires crunch something plastic. Glancing down, a solo cup collage of faded star charts clings to the bumper. Each ringed stain marks a celestial event. Comet NEOWISE's 2020 flyby. The 2017 solar eclipse. A sticky note doodle of Saturn eating a burrito. Quirky fact: a 2023 geoarchaeology paper claims desert rodents bury eclipse poems in PVC pipes during Mercury retrogrades. Peer reviews pending. But your glove compartment coughs up a rodent-nibbled haiku about vaporwave sunsets. The eclipse hits, noon dimming to sepia. Your phone dies mid-Google search. Can Uber Eats deliver to the empty quarter? But the car's speakers awaken, blasting a Bedouin elder's voice from a 70s reel-to-reel. His words warp sand static morphing into something structured. 3 steps where Venus winks twice, then kneel where the dunes recite. You spot a rock formation that, okay, kinda looks like a kneeling emoji. Shadows stretch into hieroglyphic lattices. That AR prayer mat app, still trying to load, its buffering symbol, now a spinning astrolabe. You trudge uphill, GPS coordinates blurring into a toddler's finger paint version of the Big Dipper. The elders recording loops, revealing a backup verse about following the buzzards, coffee stains. Sure enough, vultures circle a caffeine-colored crevice ahead. Modern travelers swear Phoenix has the closest Starbucks. Bedouin emergency poetry suggests otherwise. You reach the crevice, its walls etched with petroglyphs of people high-fiving comets. A rusty natural ice can gleams below, its expiration date October 2019, aligning with Jupiter's moon count. The elders tape hisses, break the moon's fast with a she-camel's breath. You crack the beer, it fizzes like a microphone dropped in tonic water. Something glows beneath the foam. A USB drive labeled Al Khali's greatest mixtapes fall. IX. Plugging it into the car, the system screams to life with trap beats woven into Nabatean chant. A hologram projects, showcasing TikTok dancers in thobs, popping and locking to eclipse-counting rhymes. One move, the waning gibbous, involves armpit farts, timed to lunar apogee. Night falls premature, Venus pulsing like a lie detector test. The USB's lyrics steer you northwest, past a boulder shaped like a screaming Zoom avatar. Your headlights catch a faded billboard, gas next exit, 3000 BCE, 2023 CE. Behind it, a neon falcon flaps wings in Morse code. Dash cam footage later shows it spelling 53 kilometers to Palavri Oasis. Bring nickels for the robot goats. A drone streaks overhead, its red underbelly, lights mimicking Antares during wildfire season. The elder's voice returns, distorted through a VHS filter. Beware the scorpion that stings through its shadow. You sidestep a suspiciously symmetrical sand mound, just as the drone drops a Starbucks Frappuccino, its mint chocolate chip, the official flavor of Mercury in retrograde, according to gas station horoscopes. Rumor has it Tesla's next update includes eclipse mode, rerouting drivers via ancient caravan stops if Starlink fails. Historians still argue whether Bedouin moon poems described actual routes or just psychedelic mirage journals. Your eyes catch a roadrunner zigzagging toward a cairn of Mountain Dew bottles, its path mirroring the USB's auto-tuned asterisms. The Falcon's Morse code accelerates, now synced to Baby Shark, remixed with Coptic hymn beats. The eclipse passes, dawn mist rising like phantom Wi-Fi signals. Your phone resuscitates, showing 772 tick-tock notifications. The top video, you chugging that ancient beer, caption screaming, eclipse beverage hack, with Dune Core trending. Comments argue whether lactose-free camels could disrupt stellar wayfinding. The rental car's odometer displays 666 miles, backseat glowing with USB-induced static. A child's voiceover from the tape whispers, "Every shadow holds its mother's longitude." You half expect your own shadow to start Venmo requesting toll fees. Instead, a tumbleweed rolls by, wrapped in best by receipts that form a crude Orion's belt. South, the cliffs echo generations of backup singers harmonizing oasis. GPS coordinates obtained. Sunlight reveals tire tracks curving toward a truck, stops pixelated palm tree logo. The air smells of synesthetic gasoline, each octane rating, evoking a different Desert Prophet's cologne. As you merge onto I-10, the car's AI sighs, recalculating. Please insert poem containing at least 3 harvest moons and 1 confirmed coyote sighting. The USB drive self-ejects, landing in a cup holder that's suspiciously shaped like Al Marzuki's astrolabe. Your hands still buzz from the steering wheel's vibrations. That emergency poem, now a phantom rhythm in your tendons. The falcon's neon silhouette shrinks in the rear view, its wings dissolving into 8-bit constellations. Half asleep, you realize eclipses weren't just celestial resets. They were mixtape drops from ancestors, sick of Spotify's algorithm. The horizon warps, highway lanes splitting into parallel realities where poetry never needed Wi-Fi. Your tires hum against asphalt, still warm from the eclipse's flirtations. Dashboard GPS. Now a disco ball of connective anxiety. That USB drive in the cup holder, it's emitting a draft Instagram reel, 1940s Bedouin love ballads, dubbed over lo-fi beats. Lyrics croon about lips like the Mare's Head Nebula. But tilt your head. Suddenly, it's a step-by-step guide to bypass British colonial checkpoints. Mainstream archives confirm resistance. Fighters smuggled star coordinates in wedding songs during the 1930s revolt, their verses veiling rebellion as romance. A road sign blinks, next rest stop, 23 miles or 97 haiku. You swerve toward a fluorescent oasis, a Shell station stocked with camel milk lattes and pre-peeled prickly pears. The soda cooler thrums with a melody familiar yet skewed, like a pop song slowed to a funeral march. Press your ear to the glass. It's a rendition of Layla, retuned to match Sirius's pulse during summer solstice. Cashier says it's just the ice machine, but his name tag reads Alcanza, same as a 7th century poetess who hid battle strategies in elegiac verse. Coincidence? The slushy machine hisses in Morse. Greedy, your phone resurrects. Tick-tock flooded with clips of Gen Z influencers throat-singing desert hymns into Ray-Ban Meta glasses. One viral challenge: Myrrhcore edit your ex's face onto a water mirage and tag UNESCO. Comments section devolves into scholars debating whether Nabatean rock art depicted aliens or just dysentery hallucinations. You pocket a keychain carved from petrified wood, its surface scarred with glyphs that itch when held northward. Quirky discovery: a 2,000-year-old grooming manual advised using Orion's belt as a beard trimming guide during Mars oppositions. Back on the highway, your rental car speaker glitches into a static lullaby. A child's voice recites, "Sleep, my gazelle. The scorpion's tail points east. Modern parents use it for bedtime." Unaware, each rhyme originally marked decoy trade routes around Ottoman tax collectors. Shadows lengthen into cursive script your headlights, catching a jackal pup trotting in perfect iambic pentameter. You have expected to drop a mixtape criticizing your life choices. The AI interrupts, its voice now mimicking a Tuareg blues singer. Alert: Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Japanese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Japanese, Mandarin. The dialect scrambles, dead languages elbowing for airtime. A hologram blooms, 16th century love poems overlaid on Costco receipts. One line about rosy-fingered dawn highlights a coupon for 70% off sunscreen. Historians still argue whether Homer plagiarized Bedouin bards or just really loved a good bargain. A detour sign materializes, its Arabic calligraphy dissolving into comic sands. You follow it into a wadi where sand mimics radio static, each grain vibrating with archived couplets. Phone dies again, but the USB drive projects a sepia film reel onto the windshield. Black and white nomads dance around a transistor radio. In 1954, voiceover explains how Cold War CIA operatives recorded tribal poetry, mistaking stellar coordinates for missile launch codes. You stumble upon a picnic table fossilized into a sandstone slab. Its surface grooves form a board game, pebbles as pieces, dice carved from meteorite shards. Rules are vague, though moving your pebble to Aldebaran triggers a hidden compartment. Inside, a Walkman cassette labeled Hip Hop Henna Mix 89. Press play. A rapper spits bars about Venusian transits over breakbeats, sampled from goat hooves. Lyric Slipnote reveals it's a backup navigation tool for Gulf War blackout zones. Headlights catch a billboard peeling into confessionals. "Forgive me, Father, for I used Waze during Ramadan." Behind it, a chrome camel statue regurgitating VHS tapes of Zoroastrian weather reports. You pocket one, labeled Monsoon Protocols. 68, its magnetic strip smelling of oud and regret. Play it later, it's just static, until you realize the hiss aligns with Polaris's frequency during winter equinox. Dawn cracks the horizon, light scattering like dropped Scrabble tiles. A drone descends carrying a laminated scroll. Poetry delivery 666. Unfurl it. A Keffier pattern hides a Spotify QR code. Scan it, your earphones flood with ASMR whispers, reciting Ptolemy's rants about sand in his astrolabe. 482 comments praise it as ambient ragecore. The rental car shudders, its engine chanting a mangled ode to carburetors. You realize each stall is a syllable in a forgotten poem about diesel engines as Djinn of the paved sands. Glove compartment coughs up a parking ticket from 1987. It's fine calculated in lunar cycles. Under vehicle make, someone scribbled Mecha Metro. Line 7 to enlightenment. Your thumb brushes the ancient picnic table's grooves they're warm. Humming a lullaby, even Google Translate chokes on. A scarab beetle skitters past, its shell iridescent with QR codes that redirect to Pinterest boards of Sumerian crochet patterns. One post captioned how to knit your own oasis gets 73,000 saves, the comments debating if sheep's wool disrupts ley lines. The USB dies mid-verse, its final flicker projecting a meme. I paused my poetry for this. You laugh, until realizing the desert's silence now feels dense, scripture etched into air molecules. Even the wind carries a backbeat, grains whispering couplets your rental contract definitely didn't cover. As the highway swallows you whole, its clear poetry didn't survive by being immortal, just too stubborn to decompose. Your windshield wipers smear star fragments. The rental car's GPS muttering Beetlejuice's coordinates like a jilted lover. Turns out Western astronomy nailed the red supergiant's position 700 light years away. Give or take, but Bedouin verses. They'll tell you Bet al-Jawza isn't just a pinprick in Orion's shoulder. It's the bargaining chip Fatima used to haggle for 7 goats and a copper kettle in 1892. Mainstream historians confirm tribes timed trade negotiations to the star's brightness cycles. Dim meant prices dropped faster than a falcon's dive. You pull over where pavement surrenders to dunes. The rental's headlights catch a theodolite rusting beside a ChatGPT kiosk. 19th century tech shaking hands with AI. A Bedouin star poem loops through the kiosk speakers, its vowels warped by server lag. Al-Najm Yada howl. The star shifts like a merchant's promise. Modern apps reduce constellations to augmented reality filters. Missing how Al-Jabar's rising meant check your CAMELS Chinese letter for sandstone cracks. A TikTok notification blares. #Astro hustle trends with influencers auctioning authentic meteorites that look suspiciously like driveway gravel. One clip shows a guy named CHAD Chinese letter ING how to manifest Andromeda vibes using sage and a fidget spinner. Comments erupt. bros charging $300 for burnt rosemary and dizziness. But scroll down, a 70-year-old vendor in Siwa Oasis smiles, holding up a clay tablet. Its cuneiform-like scratches aren't ancient receipts. They're star poems doubling as bargaining benchmarks. Quirky fact: some traders swore blindfolded haggling under serious increased profit margins by 40%. The desert air thickens with the scent of mint tea and existential dread. Your phone's flashlight reveals graffiti. Hipparchus was here spray-painted over a Neolithic star map. Archaeologists found Greek star catalogs in Alexandria's ruins, precise but dry as mummy wrappings. Bedouin equivalents: a line about the scorpion's tail brushing the merchant's cheek-pinned Mars. Retrograde within 3 nights. Both systems chart the void, but only one tells you when to shut up and let the client sweat. A sandstorm brews, the rentals weather app screeches warnings. You switch to an ASMR live stream of someone sifting dunes through a sieve, calming, until the host reveals it's a reconstruction of star-sifting rituals. Poets memorized constellations by feeling different sand, GRAD, ES Chinese letter, each zodiac sign. Virgo's domain, granules fine as powdered gypsum. Historians still argue whether these methods outperformed sextants during haboobs, or just gave better bragging rights at campfire symposiums. Static crackles from the glove compartment. That cursed USB drive resurrects, projecting a Venn diagram onto the fogged windshield. Left circle, Western astrophysics. Right, Bedouin oral systems. Overlap, a scribbled Ike. TT in Comic Sans. Teenage Bedouin astronomers in Dubai told Nat Geo their star poetry memes get more engagement than NASA's Instagram. One caption: Ptolemy seeing us track Venus without a single equatorium. Your coffee goes cold, ironic. Since 9th century verse warned against drinking lukewarm kawa during Mercury retrograde, modern science scoffs. Until you recall a 2019 study where participants navigating by GPS made 23% more wrong turns than those reciting directional poetry. Peer reviewers called it statistically significant witchcraft. Moonlight fractures through a cracked side mirror, each sliver etching poems onto your forearm. The rental's manual gloats about its celestial navigation mode, really just a compass app that crashes if you hum traditional rababa tunes. Teresa from customer support insists it's a glitch, but her name tag bears the same crescent and star motif as Queen Mavia's war banners. Coincidence? The Hold Music's remix of Arabian Nights has suspiciously accurate Orionid meteor shower coordinates in its bass line. Dawn unveils a rest-stop vending machine stocked with zodiac chips, each FL a VO, R Chinese letter, a lunar mansion. You insert coins, praying for Scorpio's chili lemon, get stuck with Pisces seaweed garlic. A crumpled leaflet warns, contains no actual astrology, just like your ex's promises. Nutrition facts list 12% daily value of existential wonder. The cashier, 83, missing an index finger, mutters that CRUNCHING, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter flavors during their astrological hour sharpens memory. His grandmother allegedly recited 3,000 verses flawlessly after binging Leo-branded fava beans during the Leonids. Your GPS rallies, recalculating with renewed spite. It barks coordinates for Betelgeuse so precise. They include the star's Instagram handle at Betelgeuse Official, bio, dying in style since 1000 BCE. Meanwhile, wind-carved stones nearby whisper the old bartering rhyme. Her cheek outshines Jaws' glow, ask 10 camels, settle at 4. Western catalogs quantify light years and solar masses. Bedouin verses measure how many blankets you'll need when that same star gutters out. The rental's engine dies beside a road sign, riddled with bullet holes and hexameters. You trace a line from the crow's crooked flight to Polaris, landing on a petrol station that blends into the dunes. Attendant, a hologram of 13th century astronomer Alfargani, sipping a Slurpee. He nods at your USB drive. Suddenly, it spews star poems formatted as Excel spreadsheets. Column A, right ascension. Column B, a couplet about lovers separated by the Milky Way's river of spilled milk. As tank fills, you notice constellations tattooed on your forearm shifting. Incan llamas, elbowing a R, a B, I, a N, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, for space. The radio picks up a college station debating cosmological decolonization. One caller insists Babylonian eclipse records are overrated, until the host plays a mashup of Enheduanna's lunar hymns and Voyager's golden disc tracks. Back on the highway, hands sticky with Pisces chip residue, you finally grasp the overlap. Western science maps the sky's skeleton. Bedouin poetry animates its flesh. Telescopes capture supernovae deaths. Oral verses recount how their light helped birth a bartered camel's nickname 10 centuries back. Both true, both bleeding into the rearview as headlights outpace photon emissions from a star that might already died. The desert exhales sand stinging like static from a busted amplifier. Somewhere, Chad's fidget spinner finally stops. The fidget spinner's final click echoes into a child's laugh, sharp as a desert jay's call. You blink, dawn stains the dunes peach, revealing hopscotch grids etched into hardpack. Chalk lines twist like retrograde planetary paths. Except these zigzags match Venus's evening positions from last Ramadan. A boy, maybe 9, tosses a goatskin pouch into Al-Akrab's claws, reciting couplets with each hop. Left foot aches where sands sigh, right finds the well where 3 hawks. His sneakers blur, Air Jordans repurposed as celestial timekeepers. Instagram reels preach iPad apps for teaching astronomy. Yet, here's a 10-century-old game still outselling ChatGPT's AI star mentor in rural towns. Mainstream historians confirmed Bedouin kids navigated better than colonial surveyors. By age 12, their report buried under a primitive pedagogy footnote in 1923. A girl lobs a date pit at the boy's heel. It bounces into Alzubr's mane. Rule break. Now he's gotta sing the comet warning stanza backward while balancing a water jar. You've seen frat boys less dedicated to beer pong. His voice cracks on the high note, but where the tail that combs the dune's scalp, giggles erupt. Grandma materializes, thin as a shadow at noon, slapping his shoulder. You skipped the merchant's donkey verse. Her reprimand hides pride. Quirky fact. Elders swore Chewing, Chinese letter, gum resin during the game boosted stellar memory. 20th century tests showed it just prevented cottonmouth from all the singing. The grid's numbers daubed in charcoal and crushed pomegranate. Or maybe Junior's nosebleed after last week's meteor dodge round. Each square's width matches a finger's span, exact measurement for judging star distances. Without instruments, you squint. Is that Cygnus's wingspan, or the Wi-Fi symbol your dying phone craves? They reshuffle the grid for MERCURYS, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Venus, too mainstream now. A toddler waddles through, dragging a toy camel whose hump dispenses sesame candies for correct answers. Preschoolers here learn inventory rhythms before alphabet, counting stars in grams of saffron, not digits. They'll recite 300 verses by puberty. Grandma says, lighter flicking to her Dunhill, faster than you millennials swipe left. Debate erupts when Lil Cald claims the North Star hop counts as cheating. His sister fires back, Polaris is pre-Islamic anyway. Historians still argue whether these games trained actual navigators or just produced killer poets who could roast you across 7 dialects. A drone whirs overhead, some German tourist filming authentic cultural exchange. The kids immediately pivot. Their hopscotch morphs into a TikTok dance. MOVES, Chinese letter, the Emirates' new Mars orbiter trajectory. Lyrical fusion, perseverance, rover grinding on Aldebaran's heel. Grandma rolls her eyes, but doesn't stop them. Survival adapts. You spot stone markers under the grid. Teenagers sanded them smooth last century. Names peek through. Nora 4, Zaid 97. A heart with NSYNC, not equal to stars carved in Spanglish. Graffiti or generational baton pass. Hard to say. The boy stumbles, mouths Mabsut's lament to reorient. It works until he steps on a scorpion. Cue dramatic wailing. Grandma sighs, spits tobacco. It perfectly plugs the hopscotch square, representing Saturn's hexagon. Pain management via humiliation. Al Nasser doesn't carry crybabies. The girl reenacts his flailing spot on as others howl. Lesson learned. Navigation requires pain tolerance and quality footwear. Dust devils spin the grid into chaos. Kids scatter, except one teen lingering. She realigns stones using her phone's compass, then smirks and tilts them 8 degrees. Why? Poems need updates, she shrugs. Polaris wobbles like you're dating life. Touché. Your rental's engine coughs, a mechanical raspberry to all this human ingenuity. Keys dangling, you consider joining the game. First square, beginner's luck or scorpion sting. Flip a camel bone token. It lands on the bone clatters, engraved side up. Beginner's luck glints under the glare of your phone's dying flashlight. Kids cheer or mock as you shuffle onto the grid. Toes brushing Saturn's hexagon, you inhale and miss the opening verse by 3 syllables. The new moon's a comma, not a period. A teen heckles. Trash talks baked into tradition. 12th century graffiti found near Petra insults a poet's camel breath meter. You pivot left foot on Aljaz's shoulder as the crowd chants corrections. Modern twist. One girl live streams your stumbles with a Snapchat filter that turns sweat beads into falling stars. Tonight's poetry slam unfolds at the abandoned observatory, its dome split like a pistachio shell. Lead palm trees pulse neon green, someone's idea of authentic Bedouin rave vibes. Competitors sip cardamom, lattes from reusable rocket cups. First up, Amna, 23. Her verses weaving TikTok trends with Ptolemaic star catalogs. Your DMs are like Sirius B, she raps, invisible, but warping my damn gravity. Half the elders nod, half check their Fitbits. A toddler claps to the beat, her braids clinking with charms shaped like NASA rovers. Historians verified slams like these thrived in medieval Cairo's coffee houses. Musicians and astronomers beefing over shared mic time. Check the Cairo Geniza manuscripts if you're into dusty receipts. Next poets, a burnout named Rashid smells like henna and hydroponic weed. His ode to Mars colonization drones, dust storms erasing our lyrics, but Elon's still stealing our rhyme schemes. Crowd groans. Quirky fact. Rumor claims the podium's coated in Apollo 11's lunar dust, stolen by a Dubai prince's cousin, probably just crushed Viagra from last year's influencer summit. You shiver, the desert night bites through your H and M hoodie. A vendor thrusts a zodiac churro at your face, you decline. 12-year-old Layla takes the stage, precision-cut silence, as she adjusts her hijab's galaxy print folds. Her opening line slaps. Your Wi-Fi can't map the tears in Al-Lat's veil. The judges, 3 griots, and a former SpaceX engineer, lean forward. Layla's poem sprints through supernova metaphors before dropping coordinates to a secret aquifer, actual coordinates. Grandma's nodding, her gold incisor glinting like a debossed star. Debates flare during intermission. She plagiarized Ibn Battuta's WhatsApp chats. A man hisses, his Tesla keychain flashing. Others argue Layla's meters too. Nabati, a 6th century dialect, making tick-tock comebacks. Historians still argue whether the weeping constellation trope started with lost love or sandfly-induced delirium. Suddenly, projectors blaze. The dome's cracks become collaboration lasers, mapping forgotten trade routes onto attendees' hoodies. A beat drops oud meets 808's final competitors a hologram, debuting his AI guzzle generator 3000. Crowd missiles date pits at the pixelated mess. Authenticity police incoming. Someone mutters, as if Bedouin twitters a thing. Layla wins, obviously, her prize. A smartwatch preloaded with 93 generations of stellar poetry, plus free Shane coupons. The runner-up gets a gym bag filled with fossils. You think they're ancient, until Rashid whispers they're 3D printed fakes from the Ras Al Khaimah gift shop. As dawn licks the dunes, poets trade verses by the broken vending machine. Their words melt into WhatsApp voice notes, or maybe ASMR tracks for jaded CEOs. You find the hopscotch grid again, now modified with Layla's aquifer coordinates. A boy tests it, lands on scorpion sting, but laughs through the pain. His sneakers logo, a drowsy astronaut hugging a camel. Sleep tugs at your eyelids, blurring the stars into lift the flap book constellations. Somewhere a drone's battery dies. The slams pause. Thousands of encrypted verses still orbit low Earth, waiting for the next kid who'll mix them with memes and math homework. The dunes exhale. You catch a final couplet in the wind. Or maybe it's just tinnitus from the beatboxing hologram. Dawn bleeds fake gold through Dubai's skyline. Its Burj Khalifa spikes, stabbing what's left of the Milky Way. You squint upward, counting 6 visible stars. 7, if you count the Emirates airline logo blinking its bloodshot eye. Your Lyft driver cranks Synthude, a Spotify playlist titled Desert Vibes for Crypto Bros. The app glows on your wrist, Layla's victory poem still pinging. Its coordinates now juicing your step count with non-existent dunes. Moonlight can't compete with LED billboards hawking. Stellar Time shares own a slice of Sirius. Neon scorpions dance across a vodka ad, their tails forming the Bathalak constellation, modernized for club visuals. Historians verified Orion, once guided Sumerian tax collectors. But try explaining that to the dude vaping mango haze in the backseat. You swipe past light pollution maps. 93% of Emirates kids think the Big Dipper's a ride at Dubai parks. Quirky rumor. Conspiracy blogs swear the government's building a dark sky mosque with retractable domes. Star poets whispering tourism slogans through hidden speakers. Probably just another canceled Expo 2020 project. Your apartment greets you with migraine bright bulbs, smart lamps stuck on productivity murder mode. The Zodiac churro wrapper crinkles in your fist, still clinging to caraway seeds from the Slam's snack table. You fumble with the app, its AR feature overlaying Bedouin constellations onto your IKEA ceiling. Al-Jadi, the goat star, hovers where a lava lamp should be. Vocal sliders let you choose elder rasp or ASMR whisper for poetic playback. You pick rasp, the voice crackling like a campfire, built with Elon Musk's old tweets. Modern solutions, ancient problems. The verse mentions Allelu letter 1E25YY, a long dead oasis. Google Maps coughs up a Starbucks in Riyadh, now stands there. Outside, construction cranes bow like metal mourners at a star's funeral. 12-year-olds below rewrite constellation names in TikTok captions. Draco. Nah, that's Drake's ghostwriting team. Laughter spirals upward, dissolves against glass towers. Historians still argue whether early Bedouin astronomers invented the first GPS or just had really good weed. You drain yesterday's kombucha, fermented enough to taste like the scorpion sting chug from the slam. A notification blips. New memory layer unlocked. The app claims this verse predicts Dubai's next sandstorm. Or maybe it's a grocery list for lamb entrails, hard to tell with 6th century metaphors. Midnight finds you slumped on a balcony, air-conditioned wind slapping your face. The app hums, TR, a NSL, a T, ING, Chinese letter, Japanese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, into star paths. A drone zips by, its red eyes mimicking Mars in retrograde. You whisper Layla's closing couplet, half exacting the sky to reshuffle. Instead, smog and satellites. But the rhythm sticks, your breath sinking with ancient stress patterns. For 3 heartbeats, the city's glare dims, not physically, just your tired brain editing the noise. Somewhere beyond the highways, real dunes shift, their crests memorizing verses even GPS can't steal. The poet's cadence loops, a lullaby for urban insomnia. You don't notice the screen dying, or the first real star piercing through Polaris, or maybe Venus trolling astrophysics apps. Sleep comes not because you surrendered, but because the poem's last line demands it, your final waking thought. That kid's voice from the slam, remixing scarabs and Starlink satellites into something durable. The desert breathes through concrete, one encrypted stanza at a time. Dawn spills muted amber over Dubai's silhouette, its jagged skyline swallowing the last shy stars. You tilt your head. 7 faint pinpricks cling to the smudged heavens, 8 if you humor the pulsing emirate star, winking like a sleep-deprived guardian. The car speakers hum a synthetic lullaby, a playlist named Dunes and Decibels. As your wrist glows faintly, Layla's words still humming through your veins, their cadence softer now, a worn path through digital dust. Neons dim to dusky blues, billboards whispering half-hearted promises of celestial ownership. Far below, taxi lights mimic scorpion trails, a faded echo of ink-black skies where poets once traced destinies. The app's AR sky trembles above your bed Al-Jadi, the goat star, flickers where your ceiling fan spins. You choose elder rasp, the voice unfolding like aged parchment, slow and granular, mentioning oases buried under parking lots. Sandstorms preserved in cloud servers. Your eyelids heavy now. Construction cranes outside blur into bent constellations. Someone's laughter floats up, a snippet of a tick-tock rhyme about lunar crypto. You don't mind. The kombucha's tang fades, replaced by the ghost of cardamom steam from 1,000 desert fires. A notification blinks gently, memory layer archived. No alarms, just the hum of verse-laced code, looping as your breath deepens. Cool air nudges your face, no longer sharp, but a balm. The app's light dwindles, one star pulses through the haze. Not Polaris, maybe Vega, or just a planesic satellite. It doesn't matter. Layla's refrain lingers, not in your ears, but in your bones. A whisper syncopated with slowing heartbeats. Concrete trembles faintly, or perhaps it's the dunes, miles away, murmuring back. Sleep arrives like a side couplet, inevitable, effortless. You don't fight it. The city's glare softens into a cradle, constellations rewritten, yet familiar. Somewhere, a drone's hum becomes a night bird's croon. The last thing you taste, not lithium batteries or smog, but rainwater pooled in ancient stones sweet and stubbornly alive.